great drop-ins that we lost when they blew up the show. Tommy Morrison. The altitude. God. With Bobby Bowden. That's a dadgum good point.
That was the best one.
Yeah.
Dadgum good point.
Well, let's bring it back. It's never too late.
Well,
Not
actually,
that
with both of them, it is.
Yes, with both Tommy Morrison and Bobby Bowden, that's we're not getting those.
Uh-oh.
Didn't we get Harry
Harry Callis?
Harry Callis did us a liner? God.
All we need is Pat Kirwan. That's all we need. Let's just have him do it. You're listening to Miller and Moulton.
That's if they don't take a day off.
We should do him, but only run it on Fridays. You're listening to a Football Friday on Miller and Moulton. It'd be great.
He'd do it.
David, your buddy, Greg, he gave me tickets for tonight.
Oh, it's funny. I texted him last night.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go. I told him that, but he was like, I'm not going, so just take the tickets.
Hockey?
No, Twins.
They're already playing spring training?
It's opening night tonight.
The Dodgers and Padres, who start on like March 22nd, playing 2 games in Korea. So they're already playing games. Are the Twins playing like a college team?
I haven't even looked.
Because that's usually the Red Sox and or the Twins start by playing one of them. Usually it's the Red Sox. They play a college doubleheader.
Okay.
He gave up his Braves tickets this year. He found that they were very expensive and that there wasn't a great resale in the Braves. So, but he, for a few years, bought Braves, Twins, and Red Sox spring training season tickets.
Wow.
Yeah. And sold most of them and made a few hundred on all 3. But I was texting with him last night. He just did Twins and Red Sox.
Who is this that has these?
Greg Anderson.
That's what I thought. So when you said Greg, it's what I thought you meant. Ambient, did you get your alert this morning? That's really all I'm concerned with.
Right.
Because I did all the work. Therefore, you should have gotten the alert.
Either that or we're going to need your phone number and I'm going to have to start calling you personally.
This is going to be a great day. I can already tell.
And if Ambient's in the Mountain Time Zone, it's 3:42 a.m. Wake your ass up. You don't want our voices as your wake-up call. Let me tell you. My wife just did it to me. She said, I couldn't tell if you were being nice or not. Straight at her, I go, assume I'm being nice.
Central Time. Spitz is in the best in the best time zone.
No, Mountain Time Zone.
Oh, okay.
No.
I'll take Mountain over Central every time.
I've never experienced Mountain.
And
time.
Nashville was a bad Central Time Zone because it was so far east and it got dark so damn early.
Yeah, like Fargo was good. Fargo was a really good Central Time Zone. And we'd have 10.
Central Time Zone like the Eastern Time Zone, pretty big.
Yeah,
geographically.
Massive, yeah.
Nashville's right on the edge, though.
Yeah.
It's like, isn't that like the furthest? That's like the
furthest east
city,
yeah.
Right? Like after that, it's literally like Knoxville isn't Central Time.
No.
And neither's Chattanooga.
I have almost drank this entire body armor this morning. Man, just recovering today.
Did you have a few pops yesterday?
Oh, yeah.
Attaboy.
2-0 on the Pistons, baby.
I saw the Cunningham prop bet. I had forgotten the other one.
Jalen Duren. They both hit. They both had great games. Pistons lost by 15.
Well, when they had
Great,
39,
they lost by 15.
when they had 39 with 2 minutes left in the first half, I went, uh-oh, this is not boding well for Trent.
It wasn't for a while. Then they kicked it in. Wings won, though. That's what did it to me. It's the Wings won.
I
It's a
thought
big
it was
win.
the box of Thin Mints that got you drinking.
Oh, gosh. Well, that's about all I ate yesterday. So that's probably why I'm hurting today.
Yep, 11 a.m. Yeah, used to love the noon NFL kickoffs in Fargo.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How's your week been? Well, let's finish it up in style, shall we? How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Morning, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing great. Fired up. Been a good week. Fired up for the weekend. Got a lot going on. So I'm ready for today. Let's get started. Let's get fired up about a football Friday.
Well, Pat Kirwan, Mark Packer on the show today, talking plenty of pro and college football. Did I send you guys that? I did send you
Yeah,
that,
you did.
right, last night.
Yeah.
I was busy. I did kind of, forgot what I did, whether or not I lived up to my obligations on the show or not. So apparently the AT&T outage is why we didn't get Mike Ruzioni yesterday. He had a few interviews lined up, and he just thought that we bailed on him. But he had a biggie apparently lined up at 9:00. And when they didn't call him, that's when he went, something's going on. And then he figured it out. So he had a great line. Mike Ruzioni is going to join us Monday. All right. It's just one of those things. He was going to join us yesterday on the anniversary of the Miracle on Ice. And turns out the AT&T outage got us. So after the show, was communicating with him. And he felt badly, but he said, obviously there's nothing either one of us could do. And he flew to California last night. He's got a speaking engagement. He'll get back over the weekend, and he'll join us Monday. And in communicating with him, okay, I mentioned something about the AT&T outage, and he goes, no, it was the Russians. They didn't want me talking bad about them all day. So that's what we're going with. Okay, that's what we're going with. Okay, we don't have any proof, but that's our story. We're sticking to it.
It was Putin's new girlfriend. She did it.
Just, oh boy, Miller and Moulton on this Friday, and at least in the 8:00 hour, it will in fact be a football Friday. Is anybody paying attention to this baseball uniform story?
David,
Yes.
I wasn't. It wasn't anything that I was interested in until I started reading how much the players hated it. And okay, so I paid a little attention there. But then when the see-through pants came.
Here we go. Now we're talking.
Now we've got a story.
Okay, let me tell you, this could do wonders for baseball. I mean, they may start getting the female demographic that the NFL got with Taylor Swift.
Well, it's no longer chicks dig the long ball. It's chicks dig the.
Uh-oh.
It's
What do we
still on?
call it?
Hello?
The big fly? I mean, just because that is a synonym for long ball. He hit a big fly. He hit a big fly. So we could do that. Chicks dig the big fly. It just has a different meaning. Hello. Yes. See-through pants.
See-through pants, and the fact that when I happened to be listening to another radio show talk about these, and I had to double check it, but these jerseys that every player hates, do you know what it costs to buy one of these jerseys?
I can only
It's
imagine.
like $350, which first off floored me.
I know.
That a major league, and I don't wear jerseys, so it's not my thing. But
Right, like there can't be a material in the world that costs that much.
$350 for a baseball jersey seemed a little high.
I'm going to hit Trent right where he lives, the big Detroit sports fan. So what do you think, Trent? You save up $7 a show. That's Spencer Torkelson for $350. What do you say?
I'll consider it.
You would. You would.
Yeah, the old English D, no matter if you can see through it or not see through it, it's pretty, David.
No. It's a great logo. The problem is apparently all the lettering is too small.
Well, the font on the back, if you've seen the backs of the jersey, it is
Thin.
an inch and a half. It seems like an inch and a half smaller in height.
Yes.
And the letters are thinner
Correct.
than they were before. And this is two broadcasters that are going to and moan about something like this because it's ridiculous.
Well, in a nutshell, you wear a uniform. Why? To be identified. And apparently people are having trouble identifying who's in the uniform. That's all I'm saying.
No, David, it seems like a simple premise. If you are going to put one's name on the back of one's jersey, you should be able to read one's name on the
There you
back
go.
of one's jersey. That's all.
Right. I don't
And
think
not
that's
from 3 feet away. What you need to do, general managers, I know you guys are smart, presidents of teams, David Sampson, if you were still in this position, sit your ass in the upper deck. Have the guy walk to the plate. If you can't see the damn number, it's not big enough.
Yeah, just do the runway test. Come on,
That's
just
it.
walk out there. Let's take a look.
Well, but here's the problem. Major League Baseball farmed this sucker out.
Right.
They made a new deal. I think these are Nike
Yes.
uniforms that are being distributed through Fanatics.
That's correct.
So, Mark, it begs the question, and Major League Baseball will not say a single bad word about Nike. They won't do it. Okay, even though everybody hates the uniforms, and that's before they found out that the pants are see-through. And wait, there's more. Apparently, there's not enough uniforms.
Well, that's the other part. Teams are wearing the old pants because they didn't send them enough new pants.
This reminds me, Little League, my first year of Little League. I was on the Indians. All right, it was
You
number
couldn't be on
9.
that team anymore.
Okay, yeah, good point. I was on the Indians, number 9, and it said Indians along the front, number 9 in the back, and whoever was sponsoring us.
Chico bail bonds.
Exactly. And you got one uniform, and it was a dark colored top and obviously white pants. And of course, as the season went on, the pants got dirtier and dirtier, and it was tougher to get the stains out. And by the end of the year, every kid looked like they were showing up with dirty uniforms. But my mom never used bleach, and somehow my uniform top, Mark, got touched by bleach. And midway through the season, I had these big white blotches on my Indians top. Well, you only got one. I couldn't replace it. This is it. Now, fortunately, I was a catcher, and at least half the game I had the, gear on, and you couldn't really see it. But that's how I when I heard the story about the Major League Baseball, and they literally don't have enough uniforms. They're having to rewear the old ones, or they are doing laundry every day because literally these are the only pants we have. Put them on tomorrow. And I'm like, I'm in 3rd grade again. Somebody bleached the uniform. You're stuck with it.
I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to some rainy April baseball. Just so we can see what we can see. Because Major League Baseball has defended the uniforms, calling them world class.
Oh, yeah. Baseball will not say a bad word. Tony Clark of the Players Association will only go so far as to say, we're reassessing or what have you. Oh, yeah. This is like total denial. Nothing to see here. Nothing
All
wrong
I am
here.
picturing is the Seinfeld when Costanza switched the uniform and they went to cotton. I mean, that's what this is, isn't it?
I'm just waiting for, and the problem is there's a lot of player movement. There's a whole couple hundred guys who can't wear last year's stuff. Never mind the fact that they may have traded it in. I love the fact, apparently, I thought it was a Mets player. They joked about, so the guy tucked in his jersey
Right.
in his pants. And I guess at the bottom of the jersey, they jokingly had like 2 ads that they put on the front. And then this way, the joke was, we're going to sell more advertising this way. We're going to use the see-through pants. We're going to attach ads to the bottom of the jersey, and you'll be able to see it through the front of the pants.
If I see a Preparation H ad on the backside of one of these jerseys, I'm done, David. That's all I'm telling you.
I'm just wondering, are they going to have to put patches on certain key parts of the pants just to cover up what we otherwise could see? Or are they going after a whole new demographic? And if that's the case, Mark, the theme music for Major League Baseball has to change.
There's no doubt. Cue up some of those old Cinemax movies that came on at 2:30 in the morning.
That's right. Whatever music you thought you were hearing, remember the TV with the squiggly lines? Right. Yep. There we go. I just find this amazing. This is Nike and Major League Baseball, and they have completely screwed up the uniform. Nobody could have caught this. Don't you have to have some people try them on? Like you said, don't you go to a nearby ballpark, sit in the stands and say, hey, can you just run around a little bit and stand around? We're going to move all over and just see if we can see you and identify you. After all, you're wearing a uniform.
Miller and Moulton, wearing clothes that you cannot see through, and that is to everyone's benefit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just wondering, are other pro sports going to actually take this and see this as a good idea? Wait a minute, see-through pants? Oh, we could do something with that. Hope not.
I hope not also.
Hope not. So
we will talk football today. That's what we're doing. It's a pseudo football Friday. Pat Kirwan will join the show at 8:00. Mark Packer, host of the ACC Weekdays, will join us as well in the 8:00 hour on Miller and Moulton. The text line is open at 21,000. If you want to join in on the show, you can always watch us. Twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton or YouTube/Miller and Moulton or hell, Facebook/Miller and Moulton. There's not too many places that you can't find us anymore.
Check out our uniform. Tell us what you think.
And you can't see through. That we will guarantee.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA-certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
We make money on Purdue.
Yeah. We didn't on FGCU. Let's say we just broke even last night.
I'm telling you, I did a JU Kennesaw State game last week. Kennesaw State's not good.
David, I watched a little bit because I had Wings game on in the FGCU game. It was really bad basketball. What's their excuse going to be this year when they were picked third and they're going to finish 8th in the conference?
Yeah, it's got to be Fly's fault.
I mean, he's trying to get a job somewhere else. You got to go 500 to do that, don't you?
They're 15-30 in their last 45 games. Just so you know, they started off 13-4, finished 4-11. I'm sorry, they're 15-28.
What's their record this year?
11-17.
So they could lose 20 this year.
They could. They got Queens at home. Queens won their first road game last night at Stetson, which was a shock. In theory, they should beat Queens.
No, I'm just saying they could.
But then they go to Stetson, or no, they do the North Florida Jacksonville thing. But yeah, if they lose 2 out of 3, they'll enter the ASUN playoffs with 19 losses, and obviously, they'll lose at some point. So yeah. So they could lose 20 games with a win over FAU.
They got one player on their team that I like. 32, I think. He looked like he could play a little bit.
The big kid?
Yeah.
He had a perfect night last night from the field.
He was good. When you only get one of a 3, they didn't really screw up your parlay. You screwed up your parlay. I mean, no offense.
No offense.
But you get one of 3, that's on you.
There's a little pep in her voice down the hall. Friday. She just gave a whoop.
Are we talking B or Sunny?
Sunny.
Well,
we need a poll question.
Do we ever?
Okay. How about the EA Sports? They're offering college players, if they'll let them use their name and likeness in the game, $600 and a copy of the game. Is that enough? Would you do it? Is that enough for you to say to EA, yeah, sure, use me?
For me, it would be.
Well,
All right,
sure.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. So, we talk a little bit about our lives on this show, just a little bit, enough hopefully to just, bring us closer. And also, we're going through the same stuff that you're all going through too. Just so we're all one and the same here, going through life in the pursuit of happiness. Fourth haircut in a row, by the way. I got my haircut and came home. I didn't notice a thing. Just so you know. So if you think that your wife or your spouse, your significant others, you're not really paying attention to you, just so you know, I get my haircut every 3-4 weeks. I've now got 4 consecutive haircuts. My wife hasn't noticed a thing. Nothing.
I think you should go a little longer between haircuts now.
I went like 6 weeks during this run. One time. Yes, and didn't notice a thing. In fact, and Mark, she took off all my sideburns. Once again, she turned me away from the mirror so I couldn't see what she was doing. And when she turned me back, said, "I'm done," I literally gasped out loud. I mean, there's nothing here. Nothing. I mean, I'm damn near in the army. Okay, she took it all away here, right by the ear. It's gone. I mean, we damn near have white walls. And I came home. I looked a little poofed up top. Okay, and I walked right in and looked right at her, grabbed her and kissed her. Okay, nothing. Just kept talking. Not a damn thing. I looked completely different.
It bothers you, doesn't it? I mean, how do you feel about this? Would be a better question.
I might as well be a cardboard cutout. Honestly, I should just put it like standing in different spots of the condo. I don't need to be here. She's obviously, you know what? I think I could bring a woman home. I don't know if maybe she'd see her because she clearly is not seeing me.
Here's an idea. Since your mother-in-law lives with the two of you and you're taking care of her.
Right.
Tell your mother-in-law you got a haircut next time and have your mother-in-law come out, and you've got to just tell her where no one knows, and you got to play a little trick on your wife and have your mother-in-law come out and say, "David, did you get a haircut?"
No, I want to be able to hold this over her head.
How do you hold this over one's head? That's what I'm trying to figure out. You seem to think that because your wife doesn't notice you, that you have an edge of some sort over your wife, when I actually think it's the complete opposite.
I don't know if it's an edge or just a legitimate cause of angst. So that if I become difficult, which occasionally, Mark, you're not going to believe this, I've been called difficult. If I become difficult, I can justify it and go, well, I've got a good reason.
Maybe if you were a little more gentle in the face, she'd notice the haircut.
I got one of those this morning also. You need to be gentle in the face. And I have nearly shot back with, and you need to notice me. But, okay. So there you go. So I don't know, how you're all doing, how your week's been and what have you. I really thought this time she was going to notice, but nope, Nothing. I might as well just see. I can't shave the whole thing off. I've got such a big melon. You can't shave a melon this big. It's immense. It's not a cantaloupe, man. It's a watermelon. It's big.
David, I think someone in the Twitch chat room brought up a very valid point. Have you ever not noticed one of her haircuts?
Of course not. Oh, that's the thing. That's the reason why it bothers me so much. Like, a guy cannot notice, okay, oh, did you get your nails done? Okay, oh, wow. I mean, I even now just assume when she gets her hair done that they did something to her eyebrows because, they might have cut off like one hair. So I go, oh, did they tweeze the eyebrows? She goes, why, yes, they did. Do they look nice? Oh, yeah, they look great. Just, what the heck?
Little reciprocation's all you're looking for.
I feel like I'm Weekend at Bernie's. You could just, cardboard cut it, just drag me along. Hey, now I'm in the kitchen. Hey, now I'm watching TV. So that's 4 in a row.
Weekend
Added up 3-4 weeks at a time. I mean, that means basically we're going back pre-Halloween now. Basically, right around then. Yeah.
It would be fantastic if she actually was aware of all your haircuts, has caught part of the show, and now is just doing this to spite you. But that's not her.
No. Like,
she doesn't have the gene that Miller and Moulton have in them. I would do that.
By the way, I appreciate the people in the Twitch chat room who are now sarcastically going, good morning, David. Nice haircut. See, that's funny. See, that I appreciate. That's funny. Hey, you know what I'm going to do? I just realized, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy me a Major League Baseball uniform. I'm going to see if she notices.
There you go. Just the pants, David.
That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to do the see-through pant. No, I want how much are the tops are what? $350? What are the pants? Okay. Yep. Going to walk in, see-through pants, see if she notices. I doubt it. I mean, if she's not looking at this noggin, trust me, it's the biggest thing on me. Okay. I mean, if she's not looking at the noggin, I don't like my chances anywhere else. And that would really bother me if I spent $350, $400 on the see-through Major League Baseball uniform. Can't get noticed. Hey, I have an idea for a poll question.
All right.
So, EA Sports, the college football video game's coming back.
Yeah.
11-year hiatus, and it's coming back. Okay. So they want to use real players, but they got to pay them. So here's their offer. $600 and a copy of the game. And it's either thumbs up or thumbs down. You say yes, great, we'll put you in the game. You say no, well, okay. We won't include you. And if some of your teammates say yes, we'll include them, but we won't include you. Is that enough?
Well, it is. And remember, the star players are going to get more. They're going to have brand ambassadors, they call them. So the top players in college football that they are the, players they deem top players are going to get more money than the 600.
So Quinn Ewers of Texas is going to get more than that?
I would imagine so. I would imagine that they would pick him as someone that they would want. But they are going to have brand ambassadors. It's the largest monetary deal ever for a game in rights fees of what they're paying out. It's so.
Is that enough for you to give away your, I don't know, rights or whatever it is? They can use you. I'm serious. I'm asking. That's what I'm wondering if we want to put that in a question. Is $600 and a copy of the game enough for you to say to EA, you're a wide receiver for Ohio State, and you go, yeah, okay, sure, you can use me. Or if that's too high profile, I don't know, you're a wide receiver for the Gophers or for Kentucky or what have you. $600 and a copy of the game. Yes or no?
Trent, is it enough for you? Because you're the one that you're of the age where it's not that far off. So if you were a college athlete, $600 at Michigan State, you're a backup wide
Yeah.
receiver. You're in, right?
Yeah, because I also think it'd just be cool to be in a video game. But hey, this generation of college athletes, though, a lot of them are entitled. They've been coddled growing up. They think they're worth more.
Well, that's why I'm wondering. And we can all, obviously, most people listening to the show are older than college age, but just take yourself back. Is that you're a big time athlete on campus in the era that we're in? $600 and a copy of the game. You going to sign off on that, or are you going to go, nope, sorry, not enough? Miller and Moulton.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few Joy stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
$11,000 players, $600 a player. That's $6.6 million. $6.6 million and 11,000 copies of the game. Do you think the game costs $100 to make?
No, they sell it for less than that. They sell it for about 60.
It'll be 60. Yeah, 59.
So you think it costs $20 to make?
If that, yeah.
Going to Nashville tomorrow. Just for one night. I know, I'm crazy.
You're meeting the
Oh, no.
Wisconsin girl?
No. My brother has a song coming out tomorrow.
Wow.
Professional single, so I'm going to he's having like a little release
party. That's
Yeah.
cool.
You flying?
Yep, my family's going. Flying out tomorrow morning, come back Sunday morning. I'll be there for less than 24 hours, but it'll be fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, quick development. Booked the flight like 2 days ago.
You flying out of Port Charlotte? One of those $49 deals?
No,
it's
RSW flies direct to Nashville now.
They do, yeah. It's only like a 2-hour flight. Less than $100.
Oh, wow.
Boom. Yeah.
Round trip?
Yep.
Look at that.
Now it's Spirit, but hopefully we'll get there.
Yeah, well, most of them do.
Nashville's picking back up now too. I mean, they're coming out of that.
So
lull.
I have to laugh. My kid's had a girl he's been hanging out with, and he's kind of done because she lives in Florida and he's there.
Okay.
But she's coming for the weekend, and he had to pick her up last night at the airport. The flight got delayed until 1 a.m.
Dear Lord.
I'm just like, can you just say a text and say, I think it's a good idea to end
Let's
this right
just
now?
not- yeah.
I'm like, you.
Enjoy your stay. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Ambient, thanks, man. Appreciate you. Preds games are cool. I will say that. They do
You know
that.
what's funny? When that Gator guy on the text line accuses you or us of being anti-Gator, tell him, no, we're actually pro-Gator, but David's mom is anti-Gator. Okay, because she sent me a text that said, listen, tell Trent I really like him. I'm growing fond of him. But if he wears another Gator shirt, we're done.
Wow. Mom.
I haven't
She's
even
very-
worn what I bought.
She's very anti-Gator. It's urban. It's urban is it totally turned her off on the Gators.
Yeah, but what about the old ball coach?
Well, that's what I said. I said, well, Urban hasn't been there in 13, 14 years. I go, it's my mom. She really holds a grudge. What can I tell you? I'm like, come on, Mom. So I can't get her to change her tune. So
EA Sports College Football 25 is paying college athletes $600 for their NIL.
$600 and a copy of the game. Is that enough? If it were you, is that enough? my mom's watching. She just said, I hate him.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, Pat Kirwan, Mark Packer will join us to talk pro and college football in our 8 o'clock hour. So did we settle on this as a poll question? Do we like it? Or do I have to come up with something else? Because, I don't have a lot of good ideas.
David, I have zero ideas, so I'm all for this.
Okay.
EA Sports College Football 25 is paying college athletes $600 and a copy of the game for their NIL. If it were you, is that enough?
Is that enough? Did some quick math. 11,000 college football players is what they guesstimate. At $600 a pop, that's 6.6 million. We figure each game costs about $20 to make. That's another couple 100,000. So basically, they'll be shelling out about $7 million before they sell a single one. That's how much EA is, shelling out in expenses to the college football player. About $7 million just to be able to use them in the game. Is that enough? Would you say, if you were in college, Mark, would that have been enough?
Yeah. Yeah.
And apparently it's a take it or leave it offer. They're just like, listen, this is our offer, and if you want to be in the game, great. And if it's not enough, and we understand, we'll do it without you. So
our poll questions had poll questions yesterday.
Right.
In honor of the miracle on ice, which sports miracle is most likely to happen? When we had everything out there, the Lions winning the Super Bowl got 64% of the vote over the Knicks, the Browns, and the U.S. winning the World Cup. In our Florida sports miracle, the Panthers winning the Cup won over the Rays winning the World Series. And in our snarky Florida college sports miracle question, UCF making the college football playoff got 51% of the vote. FSU staying in the ACC was the next highest. Miami winning the Natty was third, and the Gators winning the SEC was last.
Make sure you let that gentleman who texts you who thinks we're anti-Gator know, listen, apparently we're not alone. And we're not anti-Gator. For the record, my mother is. Okay, she will not, ever since Urban, hated Urban, and then just has held it against the Gators ever since. I don't know. Maybe they need to hire like Ed Orgeron. She loved him. 19 minutes before the hour. Time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
You know, I know she'll never do it, David, but your mom on X would be fantastic.
very snarky.
Exactly.
Very snarky. All right. Here's the problem. My mom would be okay with being snarky. My mom wouldn't like it, the people coming after her. Okay. It would either be she'd ignore them or she would take on every single one of them. And I think it would be the latter. So that's another reason why she can't go down that road. No. Listen, I can't believe that I was able to keep her away from not commenting at all the people that commented on my columns for all those years. I mean, when your mother's calling you going, are you reading what they're writing about you? I go, no, they think I suck. I know that. Okay. Mom, the checks cashed is the same. They really do. Like you, don't like you. It's the same deal. Same currency. Speaking of currency, EA Sports, $600 and a copy of the game. That's what they're giving the 11,000 college football players. Not all of them opting in, but many of the high-profile ones are. The quarterbacks, Milroe, Ewers, Nussmeier, the Ohio State wide receiver, they're all in. So, okay, we're doing this. Major League Baseball's got a uniform problem. We're being quite serious. First off, they haven't made enough of them. Secondly, the pants are see-through. Third, the tops, the lettering is way too small. Nobody can identify from the stands who's who.
And the players don't even like the material. It's too tight. Yeah. It doesn't give as much as what the old ones did.
Right.
Basically, these suck.
Not a damn thing about them that anybody likes. Yet Major League Baseball, nothing to see here. We don't have a uniform problem.
And I was off. I just looked up a Tiger jersey during the break, $374 for a new.
Oh, Spencer Torkelson, $374. And I can't get him for $350, huh?
Nope.
I mean, no offense. I mean, he had a better year last year, but I don't know if he had a $374 year. I'll tell you that. Very interesting story out of Kansas City yesterday. They signed free agent punter Matt Ariza. Does that name sound familiar? He was the punter from San Diego State who 2 years ago was nicknamed the punt god. Nobody could punt like Matt Ariza. Every punt was a minimum 50 yards. Drafted by the Bills 2 years ago. Shortly after being drafted, he was named in an alleged rape of a teenage girl at a college party at San Diego State in the fall of 2021. He immediately claimed his innocence, said I had nothing to do with it. But he was identified by the victim. The Bills cut him. No one re-signed him for 2022. Last year, the Jets gave him a workout. That's it. He was never charged. The teenager filed a lawsuit against him. In the fall, Ariza was able to prove without a shadow of a doubt that he was not at the party in which the alleged incident took place. So much so that the victim even said, oh, wow, sorry. Authorities never charged him with the crime. Authorities even held the presser to say, yeah, he had nothing to do with this. And yet no one for 2 years now has given him an opportunity. the Chiefs signed him yesterday. Now, they have a punter who's a free agent, Tommy Townsend, who had a few good years. This year was not really one of them. And obviously, the Chiefs are going to save some money on their punter. They're going to let Townsend walk, and it looks as if they're going to go with Matt Ariza.
And they don't punt very much, so.
Yeah, then there's that. But what I'm wondering is the Chiefs giving Ariza a second chance when really it's a first chance, and he was unfairly, named and pillared. Does this give a Major League Baseball team cover for Trevor Bauer? Bauer was never charged. Banned from baseball for a year and a half without pay. Had to pitch last year in Japan. He's 30 years old. Has taken to social media and said, I'll play for the major league minimum. Never charged. 2 investigations, never charged. The legal system concluded that he and the woman did not commit an illegal act. She even, just a few months ago, changed her story and said what we did was not a crime. No Major League Baseball team has been willing to give him a chance now since 2021. Do you think the Chiefs signing Ariza gives a Major League Baseball team cover to sign Trevor Bauer?
I think it gives them cover, but I think Bauer was blackballed by the league. I think the league has made it very apparent they don't want him in their league.
This is a frontline starting pitcher who was a very good frontline starting pitcher before all this took place. All right, this isn't Connor Stallions. He's the guy who got dressed up in disguises for Michigan and was helping to steal signs. But remember the Michigan assistant who got fired about 2/3 of the way through the season in November? Chris Partridge. He was the linebackers coach who...
Is he the one that destroyed the computer that had all the scouting evidence on it?
Exactly.
Right.
And didn't fully cooperate with the investigation, withheld
Who did?
information. Well, that's a good point. So he was hired by the Seahawks to be their outside linebackers coach. So there you go. NBA resumed last night. Orlando went into Cleveland, beat the Cavs. Nice.
It's a good win. Cavs been playing good basketball.
116-109. Knicks snapped the 4-game skid, went into Philly, beat the Embiidless Sixers, 110-96. Dallas beat Phoenix, 123-113. OKC over the Clippers by 22. No LeBron. Golden State beat the Lakers by 18. Steph with 32. College basketball, it wasn't a system play. It was we've noticed that when top 10 teams lose, they come back the very next game and they pound the tar out of their next opponent, especially when they often lose on the road and then return home. Third-ranked Purdue, after losing at Ohio State over the weekend, shellacked Rutgers by 28 last night, 96-68. So we made a little money on that. In-state, FAU beat SMU 80-70. Stetson and FGCU losers, FIU a winner. One other top 25 game. Boy, Washington State's taken this last year in the Pac-12 really seriously. They went to Arizona and beat the Wildcats last night.
Yes, they did. That is an impressive win.
The Cougars are ranked, and they just went to Arizona and beat the Wildcats. They don't lose many home games, especially in conference.
It's the first time in Washington State program history that they've beaten 2 top 5 teams in the same season. That's remarkable.
By the way, remember Ohio State beating Purdue, interim coach over the weekend, emotional? Yeah, they lost to Minnesota last night by 9. Women's hoops, did you see the scene outside of Assembly Hall last night? 2 hours before the game, Assembly Hall was completely encircled with fans waiting to get into the Iowa-Indiana women's basketball game. Now, Indiana's top 15. Iowa's top 5. And we all know who plays for Iowa. And they got physical with her last night. And
she didn't like it.
And the officials let her. And so Caitlin Clark went 8 for 26 from the field.
Barking at an opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't like a hard foul being called, or didn't like the hard foul. And
yep.
Wasn't that hard of a foul to me, but she didn't like it anyhow.
Yeah.
It's called defense.
Well, it's called, you know what it's called, Mark, for those of us of a certain age, it's called the Jordan rules. That's what it's called. Okay. Yeah. We're going to make you go a certain way. And when you go that way, we're going to hit you. Okay. We're just going to keep looking at the officials and go, how many of these you feel like calling? Because we're going to do it all day. So welcome to the NCAA tournament, by the way. Indiana beat Iowa by 17, 86-69. Caitlin Clark did score 24.
Well, I will say, if the women's tournament's like the men's, they will call all of those fouls in the tournament. It's been a problem in the Big Ten on the men's side, David, for a generation, that they don't call fouls during the regular season, and the Big Ten team wonders why they foul out of every tournament game, because they start calling the games the way the rest of the nation does. So I think she'll be fine come tournament time, because they'll call all those fouls.
Okay. South Carolina women remain unbeaten. They beat Bama by 28. Florida State, Florida, Jacksonville winners in state. North Florida, Miami, FIU losers on the women's side. Hockey, third straight loss for the Lightning. They're now the second wild card. They're 5 points clear of a trio of teams, but they're the last playoff spot right now in the East. Caps, one of those teams, 5 points back. Their third straight win, 5-3 Washington over Tampa Bay. Panthers, they played really well last night. They had 44, 45 shots on goal. Goalie stood on his head for Carolina. Aho scored with 19 seconds left to beat them 1-0. Detroit gets a Patrick Kane overtime goal.
Sexy goal. Even though it's, overtime and then no one on the ice, but it was
gorgeous.
It was a pretty play.
This just in. He can still do that. That's his 10th. 2-1 Wings over the Avs in overtime. Rangers won their 9th straight, 5-1 over the Devils. Call Seth, see if he's okay. And when you end the phone call, tell him New Jersey needs a goalie. Toronto scored 4 in the first. Matthews is 52nd. Leafs over Vegas 7-3. Calgary in overtime over the Bruins 3-2, but the point by Boston has them 2 points ahead of Florida. Florida with the game in hand for the top spot in the East. Golf, they're in Mexico. Eric Van Rooyen, the South African, is a one-shot lead on the PGA Tour. Three-way tie in Thailand on the LPGA Tour. And that was
the starting five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Poll questions up. Pat Kirwan is an hour away. We are Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, wow.
What's got you in shock?
Today was the anniversary of Bobby Knight throwing the chair.
Great. David, you'll know what I'm talking about. Remember Jim Boeheim going off on the officials after the game?
Which time?
Yeah, way back, like 70s. Maybe it was the early 80s. He's like, respect to Georgetown. I think it was Georgetown. The better team did not win tonight. And then he throws a chair, leaving the podium.
Of all the Big East rivalries, the most intense one was Georgetown Syracuse.
Yep. It was iconic, David.
Certainly more iconic than Rocky IV.
Debatable. By the way, ever since Carl Weathers passed, I've been getting targeted ads for the American flag shorts, and I almost buy them every single time I see it. I want him so bad. I was Rocky for Halloween one year.
When's your birthday?
November.
No.
We got a while.
I was going to say.
Did you just hit 24 or 25?
24. Going on a quarter century, baby.
Wrong demo for that one, Ambient. But
yeah, it would be like 90% no, maybe more.
I had to laugh. Antoine Staley, who we have on our show, he's an ECU grad, so I follow him on Twitter. ECU put the "we're in" thing of the EA Sports. He retweeted it and said, "I'm going to win."
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Friday, which will become a Football Friday.
Football Friday?
Next hour, Pat Kirwan, Mark Packer, talk all things NFL and college football. Apparently, they got about a month. That's what Bill Hancock says. Of course, I don't know that Bill Hancock's really the authority here. I think he's just more of the spokesperson, but says we've got a month to figure out how it is we're going forward in college football. Not quite sure why only a month. I mean, we know what we're doing the next 2 years. We're 12-team playoff. If top 5 conference champions get in.
And ESPN's, really what matters out of all that, David, is ESPN's televising the whole thing.
Right.
So what's there to do?
I think they have to financially figure out, how much money they're going to make off it. But, why do they have to decide in the next month what they're doing for the 2026 season? I would think they've got a little more time than a month, but okay, whatever. So we know what's going to happen. The SEC and the Big Ten are really going to benefit from it. I think it's just a matter of how many people are they going to turn off. Like, do you think anyone is going to turn away from college football because of the changes that are about to come to the sport?
I do. I think the numbers will be small. And I go back, I talk to my son every day, pretty much. He is a gigantic college football. That's his favorite sport.
Okay.
And when I bring up, I go, did you see what happened? We talked yesterday. You see, would you quit it? He doesn't want to hear about it. He's trying to bury his head in the sand and get to the fall. I'm like, so you're going to you'll still watch, and you're going to close your eyes and put blinders on and act like none of this is happening. And he says, I'll try.
I'm curious if he will actually be energized in a few years because he's an East Carolina alum. And we believe that when the change is going to happen here with the ACC, by the way, major sidebar. Did you see that ESPN sued Florida State yesterday?
Yes. For
divulging their intellectual property, which they claim is a felony.
Right.
Now, here's what I find interesting about this. This is the whole ACC Florida State lawsuits. Florida State suing the ACC countersued, the one suits in North Carolina, the one suits in Florida. We all know who filed their suits where. ESPN is claiming that Florida State, in their lawsuit against the ACC, divulged stuff about ESPN and the inner workings of ESPN's deal with the ACC that is proprietary information, their intellectual property, will put them at a disadvantage when they negotiate future deals with conferences down the road. But also what ESPN is clearly doing here is they took the side of the ACC against Florida State. Florida State's not going to the SEC. I mean, that's when I saw that, I thought to myself, well, they're going to the Big Ten. Because, I mean, if you think they were angry at ESPN, I mean, in December, I mean, ESPN now just sued them and they want Florida State found guilty of a felony?
For relinquishing trade secrets, essentially.
Right. And you think Florida State's going to get in bed with ESPN and the SEC when they can get in bed with Fox and the Big Ten instead? With Fox going, oh, please, please, please come with us.
And this will end any arguments that anybody ever had over whether the networks are running the conferences or the conferences are controlling the networks. Because the Big Ten on its own would never let Florida State in that conference. Academically, it's not there. It's just not. It doesn't meet the accreditation levels. It's getting
close.
There, but it's not.
Right.
And David, come on their own, the Big Ten would never take Florida State.
No.
Now, the Big Ten with Fox
are you
telling
kidding
them we'll pay more money if Florida State comes in.
Yeah.
And the Big Ten says, what? More money?
Big Ten goes, wait a minute. You mean yeah. Let me get this straight. You increase our footprint in Virginia, North Carolina. Yeah, okay. Florida? Really? Huh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Tell you what, they're going to have to get some new airlines and some new routes in the Tallahassee airport here in the next couple of years. Chicago, all right, Minneapolis, Detroit, okay, yep. Work some Pittsburgh in, and you got to go to Penn State and what have you. Work in Ohio. Yep. Come on, you got to diversify the airlines and the routes out of the Tallahassee airport.
No longer direct only to Atlanta from Tallahassee? Is that what you're telling me?
Yep. Got to figure something out here. So it's just one of those things in which, wait a minute, does this say ESPN is suing Florida State? And Kirk Herbstreit and the folks at Game Day are just going to be so shocked and appalled with the vitriol that they're going to get in Ireland on the first game day of the 2024 season when they're trying to promote Florida State and Georgia Tech. And the Florida State fans literally want to light them on fire. Mm-hmm. They really need to think about moving that show inside the stadium and hand selecting. I mean, this needs to be like a political debate in which you hand pick the people that are going to be in the crowd. They cannot open this up. I mean, think about Florida State Nation right now. When they read the story, wait, ESPN's suing us after what they did to us? They're suing us. Oh, that's rich. Oh, they're taking the side of the ACC. And then what? When we get out of the ACC, which we are going to get out of, they're going to go, oh, come join us in the SEC. Right. Uh-huh. Yeah.
And if somehow the Big Ten didn't want Florida State, which I can't imagine in today's climate, that's the only play ESPN's. I mean, is this little move of the Big Ten and the SEC partnering, are they trying to stop their expansion? Are Sankey and Petiti when they're together saying, this is it. This is as far as we go.
I think that Greg Sankey has said to ESPN, I really don't want to add more schools. Can you keep the ACC together, please? We don't want more schools. And ESPN said, well, I'm doing the best I can. And so they're trying to keep the ACC together. Remember, Florida State's alleging that basically ESPN's done some dirty dealing here. And that the ACC and ESPN were in bed together. And you start to look at some of who the higher ups were with the conference and the network, and you go, there's quite an interest. There's actually a relationship between two of the people involved. And Florida State's alleging that, yeah, we basically have all been cheated out of a lot of money. And by the way, you negotiated a certain deal with us, and you don't have those same things in the deal with the SEC. Why is that? And I think that's what ESPN's trying to keep in the bottle there.
You wonder if Florida State gets out of the ACC if the lawsuit by ESPN just goes away.
So I thought that was interesting little sidebar there. I don't see how, and I'm being very serious here, for as flippant as we can get about this story, I don't see how Florida State does business with ESPN after this is done. I don't. Because this is now every single level of the university. This isn't just an angry fan base. This isn't just an athletic department. This now goes all the way to the very top of the university. I don't see how they do business with ESPN in the future unless literally they have no options. And the belief out there is the Big Ten would love Florida State. And by Big Ten, what do we mean, Mark?
We mean Fox.
There we go.
We mean Fox. Because it obviously geographically, they don't care anymore. It spreads them out. It puts them in the four corners. I mean, it gets them in all four corners of the country. From Oregon to SoCal to Florida to Rutgers in the Midwest. There's nowhere that the Big Ten is not. They're truly a national conference with the addition of Florida State and any other ACC schools they bring in.
Now, I think this will work out very well for Miami. I think Florida State drags Miami with them. We wondered if Miami was going to get left out of the Big Ten. I think they go in tandem with Florida State now. I think it's Carolina, Virginia, and the two Florida schools. And the only question is, does the Big Ten just go to 24 or do they stop at 22?
Play everybody once in basketball. We now have a 21-game conference schedule.
Don't get into scheduling. Do we break it into two 11-team divisions? NFC, AFC, basically? We play 10 conference games. Everybody plays everybody once? That's not the worst idea in the world, is it? That goes into adding an extra game, going to 13 games, which you and I think will eventually happen in the 2030s, Miller and Moulton.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Did you see the referee video in the Blues Islanders game?
No, I did not.
So the Blues thought they had scored. It was called no goal on the ice. It went to video review. Game's in St. Louis. Referee, after taking a look at it and conferring with Toronto, skates out and says, "Well, you're not going to like it, but the call on the ice stands, no goal." The announcers go, "Well, he's telling the truth."
RCB, I'm not saying that FSU's academics haven't improved. I'm not saying that it's not difficult to get into FSU. They lack the major accreditations that Big Ten schools have. It's like saying FSU's improved over the years, but all the Big Ten schools have stayed exactly the same. It's not a knock. It's just a fact.
Florida State is a top 50 college now, but it's the specific accreditation they don't yet have. I think they're on the way to getting it. But like, wasn't that a requirement of Nebraska? There was a school that was joining the Big 10 12 years ago, and they didn't have the accreditation, but that literally the Big 10 told them you have to get it.
I thought it was Nebraska. No, it was the B word.
And then security was going to throw him out, and KD said, "No, let him stay."
But he did go confront them.
Yeah, he did.
I mean,
rabbit ears.
He has horrible rabbit ears.
Well, hell, he's got burner accounts.
Right. I mean, it's
to go after people on X.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Trent Valley and the play of the day coming up. And, we're entering dangerous waters these days, ladies and gentlemen, because, well, he's allowed to mention the Detroit Pistons again until he loses another bet with Miller and Moulton. So we'll see if he starts, heading down that road again, at which point Miller and Moulton are going to be making daily bets with him, just hoping to take that out of his holster. Although he won money on 2 Pistons prop bets last night. So,
Trent had a big night. 3-0 for Trent last night.
Nice.
It was a good night. We celebrated accordingly. But, that's not saying a whole lot because it's.
Were you able to buy 240s with the winnings last night?
Case of Rolling Rock. That's what
Not only that, you're like 143 pounds dripping wet. I don't know if it takes much more than that to put you on your butt. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah, it was a good night, though. Cade Cunningham over 33.5.
Oh, here we go.
Ashit, Jalen Duren over 27.5. Points, rebounds, assists. My favorite bet to make in all of sports, the PRA. Choose your favorite players, let it ride. Keeps you engaged the whole game. Anything they do, you're like, all right, that's closer to my bet. There you go.
I will say, when you had 2 Pistons going over on their prop bets, and with I happen to check the scores, and they're down by 16, 18 points. They've got 39 points, and it's late in the first half. I went, oh, this does not look good for Trent. But they picked it up on the second half, scored a bunch of points, and you got a couple of wins as well as your win on the Wings, taking down Colorado. Miller and Moulton last night going 1-1. Purdue a winner, but we did take the local FGCU team in my backyard, and they didn't play very well.
Yeah, they were a slight favorite against a team that they should have beaten. I mean, Kennesaw State's not that good.
And what was their record on the road? 3-9 going into last night?
Yeah, Kennesaw State had 3 road wins all year, and they won by 7. Yeah, that's not a good performance. But we do have a poll question. EA Sports College Football 2025 has offered the college football player $600 and a copy of the game. We can use your name, image, and likeness in the game. If you say no, oh, okay, then you won't be in the game. But if you say yes, here you go. Is that enough? If it were you, is that enough? And so far, 3/4 of you're like, yeah, well, I can be bought. $600 in a video game? Done. Count me in. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton on Twix and FloridaSportsNetwork.com.
Many gamers, like sports gamers, think that the 2014 version of the EA Sports College Football is the best sports video game ever made.
It holds up.
They have a really difficult challenge ahead of them. This game has to be good.
The bar is very high.
It is really high. Gamers are excited about this, but cautiously optimistic. So I'll be curious how this does in the gaming world, because the 20, I mean, they haven't had it in 11 years and people still play the game. That's how good that video game is.
So I guess they announced yesterday the announcers that are in the video game. They're all ESPN announcers. It's Fowler, Herb Street, and then it's a bunch of, Matt Berry, who's the Georgia Pollock's in it.
David Pollock.
I think Jesse Palmer's in it.
Oh, boy.
And I think one other. I think there's 6 voices in it. They're all ESPN, which I found interesting. No Gus. No Nessler. I mean,
David,
he has the
this
330.
next question: will Kirk Herbstreit's dog be mentioned in any of the video game? Have you seen my dog?
Kirk got more than 600. I guarantee you that.
Oh, he sure did. He's got that. He's got the prime money. Life is good for Kirk Herbstreit, but
better for the dog.
Got to bring the dog.
It's interesting. If you're EA Sports, would you have to pay those guys a dime?
Yes.
Oh, think about it. Okay. Your voice could be in EA Sports. Remember, you know how much they get paid to do halftime of the Super Bowl? Not a dime. NFL doesn't pay a dime. You do it for free. You know what you get out of it? 125 million people watching you for 12 minutes. That's what you get out of it. You get to sell you. We ain't paying you a dime. No. I'm being very serious here. You're EA Sports.
The difference is, David, the artist that performs at the Super Bowl has something to sell.
Right.
What is Kirk? I mean, Kirk Herbstreit isn't selling, maybe he is selling stuffed replicas of his dog on kirkherbstreit.com. But I don't believe that there is an avenue that Kirk is making money outside of being a broadcaster.
I understand that. But think of the exposure.
But what does that exposure get him?
Well, first off, he is a pitch man, and so is Fowler and some of the others. They pitch certain products. If let's just say it's Doritos. If I'm Doritos, I want Fowler and Herbstreit to be as big as they can be. Okay, so then when I pay them to pitch Doritos, okay, I'm even getting more for my buck. Okay, plus it's branding of who we are. I mean, if you're Fowler and Herbstreit, if EA is putting you two in the game, that's like, hey, we're the #1 broadcast team in this sport. This sport goes through us. Okay, I mean, I think it's a nice status thing, the announcers that they've included in this game. If I was now listen, Mark, insert joke here, because goodness knows I've given away a lot of my services for free. But I'm serious. Like, the player at $600, I'm not kidding. If I'm EA, I'd literally say to Fowler and Herbstreit, $1,000 and a copy of the game. Otherwise, we'll go with Gus Johnson. We don't care.
Well, it does depend on the individual, because also the NBA games, 2K, they have the halftime. They have the NBA on TNT crew minus Chuck. Chuck's not there. They have Kenny Smith, Shaquille O'Neal, and yes, they even have EJ. So that's like the halftime report of a video game. Chuck's not in it. Chuck's not even in it as a player.
Chuck probably didn't. Chuck probably wanted more money than they were willing to pay him.
Probably.
Yep.
And
so I'm
work
not sure what that says.
I would imagine there's still work. You've got to go in and record some things. I don't know how much of their voice you got to do for them to be able to then
there's a
AI
lot.
into a video game. I don't know how much work there is, but I would think that Herbie's getting paid handsomely for his services.
I do too. I'm just thinking that they could have, I think, actually negotiated it the other way. I do, because just like the player is willing to do it for $600 and a copy of the video game, you mean to tell me? I mean, Fox could say to Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt, whatever they offer, you say yes, we'll take care of you. To have you guys in the game, absolutely. Do it for $600 in a video game. Don't worry, we'll make it worth your while.
I'd much rather have Gus in the video game, just for the calls. That's me. Speaking of calls, time now for our Molly Made play of the day. Trent, what do you have for us?
Great segue. Once a great rivalry, the Wings and the Avs. They delivered for one night only, I guess. Avalanche, a slight favorite in Hockey Town. That was a mistake. Wings pulled off a huge win. It was just 1-1 going into overtime, and that's when Patty Kane rifled one home to send the fans home happy.
Skates over to the middle of the blue line, the Colorado zone. Now to Dylan Larkin, winding it up. Left circle has an opportunity, sends it in front. Kane scores! Larkin to Kane, and the Red Wings win it 2-1 in overtime with 1:18 remaining.
Larkin to Sherratt to Showtime. Wings win it 2-1. That's their third in a row. 3 of their last 4 wins have come in overtime, Mark. You got to love the eyes on the prize for the Wings. And there's your play of the day presented by Molly Maid.
Past Tampa last night for the number 1 wild card spot as the Lightning lost their third consecutive game. 774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 for Molly Maid. Call today and give your spouse the gift of a clean house.
Lightning still 5 points clear for the final playoff spot, but you've got Islanders, Devils, and Caps within striking distance now. Lightning got to get their act together. They've also played more games than everybody else. Miller and Moulton.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Got a great text. Little exchange, David. Guy says, college sports has been destroyed forever. I simply replied, does that mean you won't watch? And he replied, I'll still watch. I'll complain, but I'll watch. No one's given up on Saturday.
I think that sums it up.
Yeah.
That sums it up pretty good. 2 things can be true. You can be disappointed and not love the product. Are you going to give it up?
What I think people are finding, like, and it's talking to my kid, he goes, yeah, it was a lot easier when you went to the McDonald's on Baxter Street, ordered a number 10, and the number 10 was money in a paper bag and the keys to a Dodge Challenger. It was a lot easier when it worked that way.
It was, which is hilarious. By the way, Adam, you're 100% right. The root of NIL is the video game. They used to just put guys in there for free. They got nothing for it. It was just, you're in the video game. And then that's kind of what spurred the whole conversation. If I remember correctly, they were like, these guys should be getting paid something. By the way, NCAA 14, the video game, Florida State is a wagon. You got Jameis, Kelvin Benjamin.
They just won the Natty.
Yeah. I seriously think they might be the best overall team in that game. Like ratings, there's a rating for every team, you know? I think they might have the highest rating.
Now, do you do the mode and become a coach and recruit and all?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a great time.
Oh, I'm bad. I've now, because I've got the 2K golf game. I started my PGA career mode. I go home from work, and first thing I do is sit there. I'll go I might go for a walk. I take the dog for a walk. I'm like, you know what? Let's get a quick 18 in.
Yeah. It's fun. I don't play video games nearly as much as I used to, but sports video games it's a great way to pass the time.
I used to play hockey with my kid, and the fact that now I can't beat him, so I won't play. But there's no sense. But it's like, you know, when my son played our old producer, and our old producer was about, your age, a little older, and Jake's like 12, 13. John came over, and Jake's beating him in Madden, and John just shut the game off and left.
Although it went the other way too, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We watched Jake just storm away from John one time.
Yep.
Because when John won, he'd taunt him. He'd trash talk.
But like a year or two later, came back and just pulled it on her. It was funny.
Yeah.
That reminds me of when Bud Elliott was telling us that story about how he just owned some kid, some 5-year-old at Mortal Kombat at Thanksgiving. It's like, someone had to go teach this kid a lesson. He's talking smack to everybody. Coming back.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the top of the hour, Pat Kirwan will join us then. Mark Packer, 1 hour from now, will talk about the state of college football. And also in his backyard, the state of the ACC, and get his thoughts on the Florida State ACC suing of one another. Where does he think it goes from here? Mark, very connected, also very in tune with Clemson, which has been attached to Florida State at times during this dispute with the conference over the last 12 to 18 months. So we'll just talk the state of the sport with Mark Packer coming up 1 hour from now. And Mark, I know you're getting a lot of texts on the subject, which we've spent a few days this week just talking about changes, and are you still going to love it and watch it, and just, you know, everybody's thoughts on college sports going forward.
We got a texter who's been texting throughout the week whenever we bring this up. And he texted today, college sports has been destroyed forever. Okay. And I just said, does that mean you won't watch? Because that really is the question. If you think it's been destroyed forever, then you're done, right? No, I'll still watch. I'll complain, but I'll watch. And I think that's where most everybody is right now. I don't see people running away from their Saturdays yet, David. Yeah.
But do you feel the majority of those that watch on Saturday will not feel as good about the product? Or do you think we're over-exaggerating that even?
Oh, I think we're over-exaggerating that. They'll feel fine about the product as long as their team's winning. David, it doesn't matter how the sausage is made as long as my sausage is better than yours. And the ones that'll complain the most about it are the teams that will struggle.
Here's what I'm wrestling with for what it's worth. Because, listen, I want the athlete to get as much as they can. And believe me, once you've reached a certain age in life, you realize that it's all about money. In all aspects of life, it's all about money. Our politics, our politicians have been bought off, banking, insurance, the whole deal. It's all about money. You come to that, you as you're growing up, you think it's about ideals and what have you. You get to a certain point in life and you realize what runs the world. Okay. And you just try to do the best you can and be a good person while doing it. At least I hope so. So I get it. These are billion-dollar entities. Mark, you and I got it, quite frankly, long before most of our audience. We've been talking about this as a business for most of our 17 years together. And it really honked off a lot of people when we were doing it 10, 12 plus years ago. And we're like, this is business. This is what's going to happen. And we've been right. Unfortunately, we've been right more often than we've been wrong about this. Here's the one thing I'm wrestling with. And give me an analogy. You and I are hockey guys. One of our biggest complaints about the NHL is what? The rivals don't play each other enough. The NHL went with kind of a world view, okay, that it's important for the fans in Nashville to see Connor McDavid and the Oilers once a year. It's important for the fans in Raleigh to see McKinnon and the Avs once a year. And therefore, it's important for the fans in Denver and Edmonton to see the Preds and the Panthers once a year also. So once you start doing 20-something teams doing a home and home, well, now look at your schedule. You only got like 36 games left and you got 12 teams still to play, and you're hardly playing the teams that you really want to play. And that's what I'm really concerned about here with these mega conferences. Yeah, this is great. This looks great. There are 3-4 games a year that I really care about. Please tell me. I mean, because think about it. Texas and Texas A&M stop playing each other. Pitt and Penn State. Pitt, for God's sakes, Pitt and West Virginia stop playing each other. I mean, we can go through Oklahoma and Nebraska. Now Oklahoma and Oklahoma State aren't going to play each other. I mean, this is college sports. This is its soul. This is, what have we said is the oxygen of college sports? Angst. And that is what I'm trying to figure out going forward. Like, even for a Gator fan, wait a minute. I mean, because we've gone through this scheduling thing and people have come after us for years. You guys spending too much time on schedules. Well, this is why we do it. You're a Gator fan. What if Tennessee stops being on the schedule? Tennessee. I'm not saying it's the most important game of the year, but it's like third, right? Florida State, Georgia. Okay. But come on. Tennessee stops being on the schedule? Well, it's going to happen soon. What the hell? Seriously. What the are we doing? That's the part that I'm worried. Like, to me, it would be great to occasionally see Oklahoma and Texas. But if I'm a Gator fan, it's like, listen, I got to play the Dogs. I got to play the Noles. I got to play the Vols. Okay, quite frankly, I'd like to go back to playing Auburn. We had a great thing going with Auburn for a generation. You guys took that away from us. I mean, there are a lot of Gator fans that are like, bring back Auburn, get rid of LSU. That's
LSU was done from a scheduling and ticket sales standpoint. They tried to create a rivalry out of LSU. When Florida was having trouble because playing Georgia and Jacksonville every year, the schedule would have a hole in it. And I think it was Strickland that said, we've got to have a game every year. And so LSU became that game.
That's what I'm worried about going forward. And now Big Ten and these super conferences. And yeah, sure, it would be great to see such and such, obviously. But like getting back to the hockey thing, the Rangers and Islanders just went 14 months without playing. 14 months. The Rangers and the Islanders. What the hell are you doing? I mean, that's my point here.
And the networks don't have a problem losing some of the angst because they're getting the big brands. And there are certain brands that draw better than others. But the fan, the Gopher fan, who all of a sudden might not play Iowa one year. Right, I mean, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, they're looking around going, we border 2 states, Wisconsin and Iowa. You figure out the schedule after that, okay?
And I know that for now, they're protecting those games in the Big Ten. But you add 4 more teams, what is it you're going to do? How do you keep protecting these? You get to protect 3 games, you get to protect 2, you get to protect 1. How's that going to work?
I mean, they already got rid of Minnesota, Michigan. I mean, they got 11 games that are named in the Big Ten. They got rid of one as an annual rivalry. Well, then take the name off it then. If you're not playing every year, you can't name the game. Sorry. That should be a rule. No, we name the game if we play every year. We're playing every 3, 4 years now? Well, you can't name it. Put it in the museum. It's over. So that's my thing. And if not, like we've seen some crazy, like a couple of teams there in North Carolina who were not on each other's schedule. Wasn't it like NC State and Wake?
Played a non-conference game because they weren't playing in conference.
Right.
They scheduled each other for a non-conference game because they weren't playing one another in conference. And that was as much financial as any other reason.
Right. And they've actually done it a couple times. That I'm serious about this if I'm college football going forward. If you're going to lose some of these games, then make them non-conference games. The fans want to see these games played. If you're going to subject us to going 8-4, at least play the damn teams I want to see you play.
Come on, guys. Michigan and UCLA will be a great rivalry. Lighten up.
That's my concern, though. And I understand it's, like in the NBA, the Lakers and the Celtics, they only see each other twice. Lakers only come to Boston once. Boston only goes out west. I get it. And as a league, you don't want to take those games away. I get it. But I'd rather feed the beast with the rivalry game. If I'm going to be guilty of neglecting one, I can't neglect the rivalry games. I can't.
And it's going to be really difficult to not neglect them when you are adding the teams that you are in the conference to try to have some sort of a semblance of a schedule.
Like up until the last couple of years when Tennessee had a pulse again, it was a topic of conversation. We play Alabama every year. That's our designated, East-West game. Okay. Well, obviously that's not good for us. They're the best program in the country. We're struggling. We're basically scheduling a loss every year. And the Tennessee fans yeah, we play them every year. Don't care. Don't care if they beat us 132 times in a row. We play them every year. We've got problems. That's not one of them. We play them the 3rd Saturday in October. And we want it to be the 3rd Saturday, not the 4th either. Okay? If we're going to take our loss, do it on the damn day we want to take it on. Okay? It's important. That's what makes college sports college sports.
Texter says relative to 10 years ago, yes, it's very different, but the product on Saturdays will still be spectacular. Then a pro football fan says, I don't care. I'm only watching Saturdays to see who my team's going to draft. He must be fired up for all that live combine action that's coming.
Who's more fired up, him or Pat?
No, this guy. This guy probably likes the broad jump just a little bit better than Pat.
Listen, Pat's only there for the interviews. Pat only cares about it. Pat did an hour on the show yesterday in which he goes, the combine started as a medical event, right? And then because there was so much downtime with guys standing around waiting to get physicals, that they literally brought some footballs out and started throwing it around. Okay. And that's how the whole other stuff started. But the combine was just to bring everybody in to do a physical.
And Pat doesn't even like the interviews anymore. He likes his interviews that he gets with players. But the combine, if you've heard Pat talk about it, that the NFL's method of how they do it, and basically it's speed dating with these players where they're running them in every 5 minutes and you don't get a lot of time, that he's talked about it. The Senior Bowl is where the NFL people love the Senior Bowl because they actually spend some time talking to the players.
We'll have Pat on in 10 minutes. Combine's next week. I don't know if we'll have him Tuesday either, because I think he's traveling to the combine on Tuesday. But, oh, yeah. Well, Trent, you want us to wind Pat up? Okay. If you'll get some amusement out of it. If he may be listening now, though. He usually tunes us in.
Not yet.
Okay. Because there are times in which he's listening for about 10, 15 minutes before he comes on. So, Trent, just for you, we may wind Pat up a little bit about the combine.
Okay. Hey, by the way, this kind of relates to something we were talking about with the video games. If my memory is correct, and I'll have to look this up, or we can just ask Pat. Pat was in Madden, I think it was 18.
Pat was the play designer for Madden for many a year.
Really?
Pat was hired by Madden to help them do plays.
Remarkable. Because he's in the fictional story mode as a show host. Him and Jim Miller. So we'll have to ask him about that.
We've talked to Pat about Madden before. See the gleam over there. He liked Pat a lot, but then it just dawned on him that Pat's in a video game.
Yeah, the fact that he was a former general manager and scout and what have you, that didn't do anything for him. He designed plays for Madden? I'm talking to an Oscar winner, for goodness sakes.
Hey, a spade's a spade. I'm 24 years old.
I get it.
If you're involved in Madden, I want to hear all about it.
Totally. That was the great thing about Madden. Certain generations knew him as a coach. Certain generations knew him as a broadcaster. And then there's the generation that's like, that's the video games, right? Yep.
So Pat Kirwan coming up in a matter of minutes here on the show, as we've talked a lot of college football the past couple of days in the offseason as they're trying to figure out what they're doing with their playoff. Florida State's being suing the ACC suing Florida State, and now ESPN's involved.
And they're suing Florida State. Boy, I'll tell you. That's going to become a rivalry game. We're going to have to put that on the schedule. Florida State against ESPN. How do we schedule that?
And let's put it in Dublin.
On the ACC network.
But that's certain years. The other years, it'll be on the Big Ten network. Hello. Pat Kirwan. He will join us next. Then Mark Packer, Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commission and educational presentation, and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Good morning, Mark.
Morning, Pat. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
How'd the Blades? I didn't even pay attention. How'd the Blades do Wednesday?
3-1. They played well. They were playing Worcester. Worcester. Yeah. It's a very big crowd.
That's good.
Yeah. And it usually, even though it's $3 beers and all that business, but it's usually not a big crowd on Wednesdays.
No.
It was packed. It was extremely crowded.
Everything down here is extremely crowded.
Yep. He held in the team long enough to finally start making some money, I think.
Yep. No, the building's been busier. They've been getting a lot of comedy shows, and
yeah. My daughters, when they're here, they always seem to tie their visit with the comedy shows. They go to them all every time they're here. And it's amazing because I always judge things by how long it takes to get into the parking lot on the, driving in and bumper to bumper stuff. And the comedy show, it's harder to get in than hockey games.
Well, apparently the last comedy show they had, I can't think of who was there, but they had it in the round, so it's the most people they've ever put in there for an event.
Oh, very good. I didn't know that.
Because I know years ago when Elton John was here, it was in the round, and that was the largest crowd that I ever remember we had when I worked there.
Yeah.
And I think they may have beaten that because even, less room for the stage or whatever.
Yep.
When you leave for Indianapolis?
Early Tuesday morning. I got my first interview is 11:30 and I land at 10:30. So it's like right over. Omar from the Steelers, first man up. They scheduled me for 45 player interviews during the week.
45 player interviews?
Yeah.
How many of these, will these all be first time, or are these any guys you had at the Senior Bowl?
The ones I've interviewed at the Senior Bowl, they're going to give to the other crew, so I don't do them twice. And I'm trying to pick off.
These will all be first and second round. I mean, this will be more top end guys then.
Yep. I did a couple of them. I'm getting out of the way a little earlier, like Latham I told you the other day, and there's someone else coming up today. So yeah, but I'm looking at my schedule here, so pretty.
Speaking of
this is only the players. I have so many GMs and coaches. It's ridiculous. So I'll probably be doing about 60 interviews.
Dave, I'm going to try to figure it out. There was an article on NBC-2 or News Press. I think it was News Press yesterday of another one of these guys running like a player combine prep thing here in town. And it didn't say what players were there. I'm going to see if I can get a hold of the guy and see who he's got.
Oh, I go to the one over there by the airport. Those guys have some facility.
Is that X3 or whatever?
Yeah. The facility is phenomenal. And he had about, I might run over there on Monday.
I'd like to meet the guy just to say, hey, while you're getting these guys here for a combine, I can add another element. I can give them an interview every damn day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Brad Childress is good friends with the guy running it.
Is he?
Yep, I can hook you up with that.
That would be great.
Yep.
Because it sounded like a lot of them are coming back after the combine to continue their work.
They do. They stay there through their pro days. And yeah, Brad knows the guys. And the guy that he hooked me up with last year, who I see now regularly, is the old strength coach from Iowa, the guy that went to Jacksonville.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. He lives right by Hertz Arena.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network. Mark Packer from the ACC Network to talk college football in a little more than 30 minutes. Pat Kirwan, kind enough to join us once again at this time. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, CBS's NFL Today show. Joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, and all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. So when do you head to Indianapolis?
Tuesday morning, bright and early, and I land at 10 o'clock. So I think the flight's 7. And then we start the interviews with the GMs and coaches. I just looked at my schedule. The player interviews start on Wednesday. They have me scheduled for 45 player interviews between head coaches and GMs. It's probably going to be 60 of them between Tuesday and Saturday. I get out of there at 1 o'clock on Saturday. So that's it. There's a lot of good players.
There's a hockey game Saturday night, Mark. I mean, he's got to be back for that.
Well, there are things that are important. I mean, there's the combine, and then there's a minor league hockey game Saturday night. And
again, Mark, you have them in the wrong order. I cannot believe we've gone over this for 20 years.
What are we going to add to this? NFL Radio, CBS NFL Today show, ECHL Weekly? I mean, what are we going to add?
Yeah, well, feel free. I've been there long enough. But anyway, I heard you guys talking about the Madden game. Trent all of a sudden perked right up. Wanted to know all about that stuff. It's a long story, Trent. We don't need to waste your radio time, but I can definitely explore with you all the things I did. It was a very interesting time in my life.
All right, the combine. You had a little talk on your show yesterday about it. This thing was started out as a medical. It's turned into a full-blown week. It's on NFL Network. Is this still necessary?
Well, the NFL has another event to fill a month that they didn't have any events. So, yeah, it's very necessary to them. But didn't Sean McVay just say he's not going? He won't be the only one not going. The more publicized it is, the less these guys feel like they're in the building writing down notes, and all of a sudden there's cameras zooming on them and there's people wanting to sit down, so they lose interest in doing it. The interviews are basically videotaped, so the coaches can sit at home and watch them, and with Zoom they can watch them live. They can actually ask questions if they want to. But most of them are discouraged by the interviews because the players are so rehearsed and give such ridiculous answers. You got to get through all that stuff, and you got to get down to the core issues that are on your mind, and don't waste a lot of time asking him what his mom does for a living, how many brothers and sisters, all that nonsense. Fill out a form for that and then get to some hard questions. But a lot of guys aren't great interviewers. And I'm not talking about the players. I'm talking about the coaches. And they got to learn how to be able to be abrupt and get in the middle of something meaty as fast as possible. And the players are taking one interview after another. So imagine if the three of us had an interview every 15 minutes. We'd figure out the system pretty quickly. And to relieve boredom, just roll through them and not say anything. So it's gotten watered down a little bit in that area.
Is this where the standardized test, for lack of a better phrase, is given out, and after what came of CJ Stroud last year, is this going to go away finally, Pat, once and for all? That, this is like, to me, kind of the analytics discussion. Yes, it I guess has some meaning, but live games are its own animal. I mean, it's the same way, Dan Marino and CJ Stroud tested very badly. They obviously can play the position. The test didn't apply? Or is this where the testing takes place, and are we going to be done with it?
We won't be done with it, but the big marquee names, the lock first rounders, they're going to refuse. Most of them will refuse to take it. But if you were a fourth rounder, your agent tells you you might be a sixth rounder. We got to go there and impress people to move up a round or two. Not that it always happens that way, but the agents will tell them those guys will take the test. They'll stand on their head for a few hours if you ask them to, because they're trying to get in this league, and they will not feel like they could say, I'm not taking the test. But the first rounder, the high first rounders, they're going to refuse to take it more and more and this happened with the Wonderlic test. It's not just the S2,
right,
which leaked out, but the Wonderlic was the same problem. And the NFL did not do a very good job of finding out who was leaking those and fire them. But yeah, I think more and more the big agencies, Athletes First, I know those guys, they're telling their high profile clients, don't take the S2 test.
Pat, I was driving in this morning listening to a show, and they were talking about how, Drake May is a generational talent. This guy's a generational talent. And I happened to just see a tweet from Kurt Warner, who at the end of it says, talks about the quarterback play, and he says, as I watch college football, it's hard for me to watch. Few quarterbacks play on schedule. The pass concepts are a mess most of the time, and they run the same play over and over, a million bubble screens. Can't find many concepts that translate to the next level, and when people are asked to figure out how good they will be at the next level, it's nearly impossible in my mind. I tend to lean towards Kurt. When I hear these people talking about generational talent, I don't know how they know. Pat, where are you when it comes to quarterbacks in general and what you can learn from their college film?
Well, you got to draft what's in front of you. So that's the first problem. There is no other talent pool. So you've got to sort your way through this stuff. I recall Pat Mahomes, people that didn't like him, and we know Shanahan was one of them. They didn't like him as a player, but they didn't want to take him. Why? Because of the system he was in. And they looked at it and go, oh, all this stuff, no huddle, spread offense, hand signal plays, never getting under center, all that stuff. And so some people shy away from those because of the mistakes that they've made doing it. But you have to take from this talent pool. And generational talent. Now, there's a nonsense comment. Why don't we wait a generation and then look back and think if he was one? To proclaim these guys anything but candidates to succeed or fail is a mistake. And then you have to think about who you're going to put them with. How are they going to insulate them enough that they can grow and step into the next phase of their life and be successful? Justin Fields, what growth did you see from year 2 to 3? Not enough for me to like him. And he should have been growing by now. The old Gil Brandt rule, 21 games, start evaluating. So I don't buy any of those kind of things, generational talent. I will say this, in just a discussion I was having yesterday with a former GM and then with a couple of other guys, the guy that's getting a little warm and hot right now is the LSU quarterback.
Should be.
Yeah. And so what did the world do that has nothing to do with decision-making? They placed him third months ago. Third. And so I don't know that he's third. So it's interesting to see, but we're just starting the process. Coaches are just starting to watch these guys. None of those guys were at the Senior Bowl to watch them physically, nor should they have been there. I get that part. But I just think, I will say this, coaches tend to keep an open mind a lot longer because they know they got to coach these dudes and they know what their system's going to be like. And I'm not a big system guy. My attitude has always been, if you draft that guy, don't make him something he's not. Go decide to do it. I give Ron Rivera a lot of credit for how he handled Cam Newton. I give the Ravens a lot of credit for how they're handling Lamar. They're making Lamar what Lamar is. And so if you take Drake May, you're taking a pocket passer. You take Caleb Williams, you're taking an ad-lib quarterback. You think you should take the ad-lib guy and lock him in a pocket? I don't know if that's going to work. And I certainly don't know if Drake May running around is going to work either. And if you take the kid from LSU, Daniels, you know what you're taking. You're taking a guy that's going to probably play more like Lamar than anybody else. So get ready for that. So I just think that The people who say those things are not decision makers in the National Football League.
So I could argue that Daniels from LSU is the most impressive. He threw 22 touchdowns from the pocket last year with no interceptions, and everybody's focusing on how much he runs. He was a dynamic passer. Passer. Okay. Also a dynamic runner, but a dynamic passer. He's 6'3", I believe.
Yep.
He's got skinny legs, though. I mean, when you look at him, you see RG3, little bigger, but you see someone in which you wonder, kind of like what we've wondered with Tua. Is he just physically going to be able to take the pounding that you need to take at this position? How big of a deal is that with you?
Well, the first thing I would do, if that came up in a discussion, is I'd whip out the picture from the combine of Lamar, because Lamar has done a nice job of filling out his body. It's not hard to fill these guys out. It's not the hardest thing in the world. So I would go back and remind everybody of what Lamar looked like. And you'd even could go back and look at Mahomes. They're still making fun of Mahomes. Mahomes says they still give him a hard time in the locker room when he's walking around. So, yeah, is it an issue? It is. But here's how I looked at him. And this is I have my own rules for how I look at everything. Running backs, no way am I looking at any plays when it's 3rd and 20 and you get the draw. That's not a run play to me. That's just get some yards before we punt. And they'll give them to you. But I looked at Daniels only against Southeast Conference schools. So that kind of puts me in a position where I know what he can do against as close to pro football as I can get him. And so when you do that, how about these numbers? Against the Southeast Conference schools, 25 touchdowns, 3 interceptions in 8 games. Against just the Southeast Conference schools, 100 rushes. All right, 100 rushes, 875 yards, 7 touchdowns. So that to me is what I'm looking at with these guys. I'm not watching the game. No offense to Coastal Carolina or whoever else they're going to play. Not looking at those games. Not using those stats. So I think Daniels holds up extremely well against the big boys.
Well, it's funny, Pat, because Miller and Moulton for the longest time have always been, we'd probably draft most of our guys out of the SEC or Big Ten and big schools who played against big-time opponents. You've always had a soft spot at the Senior Bowl for some of these smaller school guys occasionally. When you were working the league and draft, we got less than a minute. What was the intangible that guy had?
Well, going to the Senior Bowl solves part of the problem, because now you put him against the guys from the Southeast Conference and the Big Ten, and then you see if he can distinguish himself. But now we've got some crazy things going on. That kid Verse at Florida State, he's going to be a first-round draft pick pass rusher. The guy went to Albany in New York. It's a 1AA school out of Pennsylvania, and they had to redshirt him his freshman year. And after 2 years, and one of them was the COVID year with 4 games, he plays well enough to stick his name in the portal. Florida State takes him. So that guy kind of intrigues me. So you got to see him against real competition or take him in late rounds.
He's Pat Kirwan. NFL Radio's Move of the Chains is weekdays 3 to 7. Of course, he's part of CBS's NFL Today show. He's heading to the Combine next week. More with Pat after this.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What you doing today, boys?
I'm teeing it up.
Nice. It's a beautiful day.
Then Mr. Mom duties, then gymnastics followed by softball, Pat. That's my life. I run my daughter around from one sporting practice to another.
Oh, I like that.
I love it.
I enjoyed it myself immensely when I could.
Because I got divorced when my son was little and he moved away, I missed out on so much with him. I don't miss any of this stuff.
Nope. Nor should you. You see Ryan Vesey at all?
Not as much. His she plays in the next age group now, so I don't see him this year.
Yep. It'll be like every other year you see him.
Yeah, next year I'll start seeing him again because my daughter will be back in his daughter's age group. She's a tremendous little athlete. Ryan's wife played lacrosse, or not lacrosse. Yeah, I think she played lacrosse at Cornell. So, the daughter's great at soccer, great at lacrosse, and a great figure skater. I mean, shocking. Dad played in the NHL. Mom was a college athlete. Kid's really good.
Yeah. Ryan, he's a good guy.
Really good guy.
His wife's father was a friend of mine on Long Island.
Oh, really?
He was a college baseball coach at small college, New York Tech. And I knew him very well. He's hysterical. He's really, really funny. And he's down here. When Ryan runs that big thing in the summer, in June, two of my guys come down and participate in it. But he's here, and we just sit and laugh about Long Island life. He was one of the all-time characters. All right, Trent, ask me whatever you want. You got 30 seconds.
No, I'm just curious because I'm surprised it took me this long to remember that. But I had that game, and it was like the long shot, it was called.
Yeah, Madden had asked us to create a game that would teach people to play quarterback. They wanted to learn how to play. And so I got Marino involved in it. Bill Cower got involved. I dragged all of them into it.
Yeah.
And we wrote the script right here in West Bay at my house with another guy of the show. And then tried to put some human interest stuff into it. We sent the kid to the services, and he went over. He had to leave college. Just reinvented some people stuff in it. But it was trying to teach you how to play quarterback. And there was a lot of testing in that, if you recall. You had to pass tests to move up. So it was an interesting idea. I didn't think it was going to be a standalone game, but we attached it to one of the Madden games, which I was working on that Madden game at the same time. So,
gotcha. So it all kind of just came together.
Yep.
Nice.
So John Madden had told EA that they had to continue to pursue making the game as close to reality as possible, and he complained to them about the year before that they were kind of static and just stuck in the mud, if you will, about the game of reality football. So I went there and the first time I went for 5 days, and I just was with all the engineers who do the game, invent the game. None of them really know a lot of football. Some of them know no football, but they do whatever you tell them.
Yeah.
So I had 100 engineers in the room every morning with their coffee, and then I'd give out assignments, and I'd let them volunteer for what they wanted to do. But like line splits, I go, look, everyone in this game just lines up in the exact same spot. You gotta fudge the line splits, and here are the plays that you fudge it with, and this is when you do this and that. So they would leave at 9:30 with assignments, and they would come back at lunchtime and they'd solve the game. They'd fix the game.
That is amazing.
Yep, it
Like,
was
just
really
that whole process is very cool.
yeah. The guy I worked for, his name was Mike Young. I think Mike left. He's out on his own doing his own projects in video game stuff. And but it's too bad he's not there. I'd send you up. You could spend a day with him.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
that is. I'm telling you, that's awesome. I remember very well the stuff you were involved with that I didn't know you were involved with. But
the funniest thing was that because I heard you talking about we did a little like news broadcast was kind of built into the game. They wanted me to be in the game, and I didn't want to. I didn't have the time. I said. So they asked me to do this cameo thing, but the funniest thing was we were doing the Buffalo Bills like on a Tuesday, and we had to drive to New York to do it.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan, who joins us once again courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Listen, we were just talking the Madden video game during the break. If you take in Miller and Moulton on twitch.tv, you can see and hear our commercial break discussions. So the EA college football video game is coming out after an 11-year hiatus. They're offering the players $600 and a copy of the video game to use their name, image, and likeness. And we talked about also the 6 guys whose broadcasters will be in the game. And I said, Pat, that, EA, in my opinion, could have played like the NFL in the Super Bowl. They could have said to the broadcasters, you want to be in it? We're not going to pay you, but you get all the exposure and the status that comes with it, yes or no. Do you think, A, that would fly? And B, if I offered just $600 and a copy of the Madden video game, would you do it?
Well, I know the pressure they're going to be under not to do it, but I think a lot of guys will do it. The players still take it serious how they're rated in the game. They still complain about I'm rated too slow and all that business. But back when it was the NFL game, they had not captured all the teams. And able to put those electrodes on all the players Dallas was one of them, and I knew Stephen Jones very well, and I was with Stephen at the owners' meetings, and the head of EA was there, and I coordinated a meeting, and I said, hey, you're one of the only teams that the players aren't measured yet. He goes, well, why? I said, because someone in your organization has told us, take a walk, and then he goes, well, send your people out. So all the players at the Cowboys did it for free. So they do like being in the game, but life has changed. It's different now. And I wouldn't call it the players union in college, but they're going to tell the players not to do it. And there'll be some that won't do it, but a lot of guys will. 602 games and I'm on almost.
One for my brother. Exactly.
Yeah.
Justin Fields, what's he going to get? What are they going to get for him? And where's he, in your estimation, where's the best place for him to land?
I wouldn't trade him. I've said that before, and I'll say it again. He'd be playing in that cheap 4th year for me while I'm holding my rookie on the sideline. That's what I'd be doing, number one. But when you move him, I think it's going to have to be a ladder deal because you can't sell him high because he hasn't done anything. He's won 28% of his games. So to me, it's going to be like, what did Trey Lance get? He'll get more than Trey Lance. Trey Lance really didn't even play. So how about a third? And then we'll build some stuff in for the draft after that. Like, if he lands up throwing 30 touchdowns, it goes to a second. If he goes to the Pro Bowl legitimately, it goes to a first. You just build the ladder. So everyone's protected. And you take the low compensation now. But I wouldn't trade him. But if they do, I think it's going to be like that. I don't think it's going to be a big number.
Pat, what do you do if you're Pittsburgh? You're 2 years in on Pickett. You really don't know if he's the answer. And there's a little more pressure to start winning bigger than you're winning. The fan base is tired of being a 6-7 seed that sneaks in and is one and done. And the conference that you're in, look at the quarterbacks you're going up against. I mean, what do you do if you're Pittsburgh? Do you just say, well, we drafted him in the first round, we're stuck with him? Or do you say, you know what, call Kirk Cousins?
Well, I think a lot of guys need Kirk Cousins, a lot of guys. And then do you want to pay him the $45 million that he's going to ask for, fully guaranteed for 3 years? We know how he operates. He's always a 3-year fully guaranteed guy. So they probably won't do that. I think what they're going to do, and whether you like it or not, is they're going to finally give Mason enough money that the contract reflects he's competing to start. And you put them both out there and you figure out who the guy is. And a year from now, if that's not good, you go draft another one. I don't think the management, and certainly not the ownership, wants to give up on the rookie draft pick. They don't want to do that. They want to give him another year. That's been the Steelers style forever. And that's what they're going to do. And so I think it's that. And the one thing about the Rooneys, they love the fans, but they don't listen to them. They're guiding the ship here. And then lo and behold, almost every time the fans find out the Rooneys knew what they were doing. That's why they've been successful for so long. If you looked at Ben Roethlisberger his rookie year, you would be a little nervous that he was the franchise.
But Pat, it's a different league. 2004 and 2005 were Ben's first 2 years. You could win a Super Bowl still by handing the ball to Jerome Bettis and having a terrific defense. And you can get to the playoffs and maybe you can get to the divisional round. But at some point, the Steelers, since Ben's last year, are averaging less than 1 touchdown pass per game. You can't win big in the league that way anymore.
Do you know the Rooneys as I do? If you ran that story by the Rooneys, they'd throw you out of their house.
Okay. They've won 3 playoff games in 9 years.
I know.
Okay.
They're old school.
Do they still believe they can win at running, though? I mean,
they believe they can win with defense, running the ball, and a quarterback that doesn't turn it over.
Which is funny because when they've won big, they've had 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Yeah, and now they don't give full credit to both of those guys.
Well, maybe they're wrong.
Oh, I like your attitude.
Well, I'm just saying. You keep trying the Cliff Strouds and the Mark Malones and the Kenny Pickett's of the world.
Oh, you put Kenny Pickett in with Marks. You put Kenny Pickett in with them. They haven't done that yet. You did. They didn't.
Well, that's on them.
Instant evaluator, 1.5 years. Oh, Kenny Pickett, throw him out.
No, I'm not saying that. Listen, I don't think their offensive coordinator has been very good. I don't think that they're schematically they've helped Pickett out at all. I don't. But you're in the AFC. It's tough, man. You're in a high rent district. Can you keep trying to sell your condo when you've got Kenny Pickett leading the tours?
He hasn't led long enough for you to have that conclusion. The guys up in Cleveland, what are they doing? Paying $230 million for a guy that doesn't play well when he shows up? They beat Lamar. They know how to beat Lamar.
Yeah, that's true.
They do. And Cincinnati, they call them the Bungles.
Well, he's got to play a couple full seasons. I mean, Cincinnati.
How about one?
Right.
Anyway, I'm talking to Omar on Tuesday. I'll give him your resume, Dave.
Please do. Please do. I will say I loved his offseason last year. Okay. Tell him I picked him to win the division last year. I was actually pretty high on Omar.
Mark. You notice where the anger's coming from now?
Well, it might have been cutting those 2 offensive linemen and then not having an offensive line last year when they thought they had one. So
but he picked them to win the division when they had Kenny Pickett under center. The guy he loved a year ago. Now hates.
I don't hate. I just don't know if he's good enough. He's actually the worst. I would rather him not be good because then it's easy. I can move on. This is the worst position to be in, Pat. 9 and 10 win land is the worst place to be.
No, you never get to the top guy and you're never going anywhere. But there's a lot of teams in that, and a lot of teams would love to be in that mode, but they don't believe they're staying there.
All right.
He's Pat Kirwan. NFL Radio's moving the chain. CBS Sports, the NFL Today Show. He and David spar twice a week, courtesy of Pinterest. Pinterest with locations from Tampa to Key West where you can't fake fresh. I moderate from time to time. Other times, I'll jump on one side or the other, whichever one seems to be having a better.
No, you'll jump on Pat's side. Let's be honest. You'll jump on Pat's side 90% of the time.
I expect your arrival every time, brother.
Better
You know
than
what they
jumping
say?
off sides. Kadarius Toney, blade of grass. Remember that one?
I'm the guy. You know what?
I'm still on David's side with that one. Don't bring that one up right now. That'll get me in trouble.
You know, Pat, I feel like this is wrestling, and every time I think Mark is going to go on my side, he goes to the other side of the ring and he taps Pat and he says, "I'm with you, buddy. I
Of
got you."
course he does. You know what? You know how much he pays me to even start these fights?
Pat, have a great time at the Combine. We'll talk to you next week.
Talk to you guys next week.
Pat Kirwan, twice a week, courtesy of Pinchers, where you cannot fake fresh. I love when you two spar.
It's the best.
I really do.
It's funny. Everybody loves it but me. I always feel like I feel like I'm bleeding out of the side. I feel like I've been gashed a little bit. Mark Packer, maybe he'll agree with me. He's next.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Damn. So my wife had a charge on her credit card that she disputed, so they took it off and just gave her a new card. But she didn't have a card for about a week, so she was using mine.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not that much money, but when you're trying really hard to spend no money, and I'm 7 days from the end of the billing cycle and I'm doing really well. Did her mom really need flowers for Valentine's Day? I'm a dick.
No, I don't think you are.
My mom got Publix flowers. She got it's the one nice thing about mom. We got both moms flowers. One cost $16, one cost $80.
If you had presented that as a blind resume, I'm pretty sure I could have picked who was who.
Hey, trust me, if Nancy lived in the 239, it would have been 16 apiece. Publix has to be destroying florists. I'm being serious. Who would go to a florist and spend $80 on flowers when you go to Publix and spend 17 for the same thing, essentially? You could start buying flowers now. She doesn't have a cat. Wasn't the whole flower thing the cat?
Yeah. No, it's so funny you say that. There's a florist a little over a mile from the house on the road that leads to our development, and they do a roses special all the time. I will say in the last 6 months, it's gone from $9.99 a dozen to $12.99 to $14.99. But outside of like Valentine's Day, you could walk into that florist anytime and get a dozen roses for, 12, 13, $15. And the other day I did think to myself, you know what? I should just show up. Her birthday's coming up in like 5 weeks. And I think I'm just going to get her a dozen roses and then have her yell at me. And I'm going to say, tell you what, think of this as 2 Starbucks. Okay? And by the way, did you notice my haircut?
The daughter started drinking Starbucks.
She's 9.
They have a pink drink. It's like a strawberry.
It's
Yeah, you know what a pink drink costs?
It's probably $5.
It's $6.
Yeah, it's all just to lure you in.
She sucked me into. She goes, "Daddy, can we go to Starbucks?" And it was Valentine's Day. I went, "No." That was my answer. It was no. And she went, "Daddy, it's Valentine's Day." And I'm like, "You've got to be kidding me." Yeah, but the two of them walk from our house to the Starbucks and back. That's great. Go for a walk to spend $20.
Mark Packer is on the line.
Excellent.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. He says we can call him all the time, and yet we don't call him enough. We don't want to bother him, but we love when he says yes. He's Mark Packer, host of ACC PM weekdays, 4 o'clock on the ACC Network. You can follow him on Twix, Twitter/X, at Mark Packer, P-A-C-K-E-R. Mark, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this. Hope you and the family are well. How are you?
We are. We appreciate that. And you can bug me anytime. It's always a pleasure being on the show with you guys.
You're very gracious in saying and doing that. Hey, before we get to why it is we wanted you on, I think the ACC's got an image problem in basketball, something I never thought I would say in my lifetime. I mean, if we start doing the blind resumes about the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th best teams in the ACC, I think they compare favorably with the Big Ten and some other conferences. Do you think the ACC's got an image problem when they do this, how many bids conferences are going to get? Your beloved ACC keeps getting like 3, maybe 4.
Yeah, David, I think they'll eventually get 5, and if in a perfect world, it's 6. But I do think there's some narratives out there that are just completely whacked out. And I'm not even saying that just as a guy employed by ESPN on the ACC network. I've grown up in this league, and is it what it used to be? No, it's not. I mean, back in the 80s and the 90s, it was stupid good. But I would even say within the last 3 years, you look what this conference has done in the NCAA tournament. I'm not really taking a back step to anybody. I mean, I know the Big 12's cutting down more nets the last couple of years, but in terms of wins and losses, they've kind of dwarfed everybody. So is it as good as it used to be? No. But, what was? I mean, the Big East was awesome. The ACC was awesome back, 30, 40 years ago. But I think when you lose guys like Krzyzewski and Roy Williams and Jim Boeheim, legendary coaches of all time, I think the initial reaction is, without even doing a deep dive, is, well, they can't be as good as those guys, right? I mean, Hubert Davis is not going to be as good as Roy Williams. John Shire, despite winning an ACC title last year, is not going to be Mike Krzyzewski, and Red Autry is just getting underway, and he's not going to be the legend that's Jim Boeheim. So I think that immediately, to the outsiders that aren't doing really any deep dive homework and prep, the initial reaction is, well, they've lost all these legends, and this is kind of a rebuild. And in some respects it is. But I think if you do a deep dive in the league, it's pretty deep and it's pretty talented. And, Carolina and Duke are still Carolina and Duke. I mean, you can't say the league's down when the two blue bloods are ranked in the top 10. But I think Wake Forest is a really good team, even though Joe Lunardi, for whatever reason, has them on the outs. I did a whole thing this week that Wake Forest, based on the net, whether you think the net's right, wrong, or indifferent, it is what's used as the metric. The net, Wake Forest is the third best team according to the net in the league. And when you look at the third best team in the Mountain West Conference, believe it or not, they've got 6 teams getting in, and they never do anything other than San Diego State. But, they got a team seeded 5 or 6 line. The Auburn, I think, is the third-ranked team in the SEC. They're a 2, 3, or 4 seed. I mean, so you go through all these power leagues. Wisconsin is the third best team in the Big Ten. They're 21 in the net. They're a 4 or 5 seed. Wake's on the outs. I mean, what are we talking about? So, again, I'm not a bracketologist. I don't even claim to be one. It's dorktology as far as I'm concerned. It's kind of filler. It really is. It's dorktology because all it is a creation of filler to kill time before we get to March Madness. See, this will all play itself out. You got to win games to get in. But I do think the league does have an image problem with certain people around the country trying to beat a narrative. But the conference is very good, very talented. But is it as great as it was in the 80s and 90s? No, it's not. And I don't think anybody would argue that.
Mark, we obviously had you on not only to talk a little basketball, but talk what's going on in football, the lawsuits between the ACC and Florida State, and now more coming out with ESPN suing Florida State. How do you see the end game between Florida State and the ACC?
It's a lose-lose proposition. I said that on the air. I probably got in trouble behind the scenes. I really don't care at this point. You can't have a brand as powerful as Florida State, even though their football has been quote-unquote down, even though they won the ACC and got screwed in the college football playoff. Their brand is still excellent. And you can't have a brand as powerful as Florida State suing a league that is looking to better itself at every cost. They're not trying to screw anybody. I think at the end of the day, when you got people suing everybody and now ESPN involved again, I'm an employee. I don't think this could be a positive end, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe at the end of the day, if Florida State really does win out, apparently they do, at what cost is that going to be to them? And the other thing is, other leagues are looking around going, hey, wait a minute, man. This is not the way you conduct business. And, when Florida State started barking with their regents and board of governors or whatever they call themselves and made it public, that wasn't a good fit for the ACC. That ruffled a lot of feathers. You got no problem with trying to better yourself. But I think at the end of the day, this is a lose-lose proposition. I don't think it's good for the league. I don't think it's great for Florida State. And quite frankly, for ESPN getting involved, I mean, how messy can this possibly get? The answer is extremely messy. Even if at the end of the day it's negotiated and Florida State gets out and it costs them hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever the number is going to be, at the end of the day, I just don't think this is great business for all parties involved, quite frankly.
Do you think that they are a one-off? Because if I'm the ACC, obviously Florida State wants a divorce and it's going to be costly and messy, but it's likely going to happen. When one side wants a divorce, eventually we end up in divorce. But do you think that there are other schools that are just waiting to leave, or do you think Florida State is a lone wolf?
I don't think they're a lone wolf. I think everybody's out for themselves. This is true whether we're talking about the ACC, any other league, me, you, or your next door neighbor. I mean, at some point in time, everybody's looking to put themselves in a better position. Florida State has made it public. I think there's other schools in the ACC that, quite frankly, when Oklahoma and Texas decided to say adios, we're going to go join the SEC. I think every lawyer that was associated with any institution said, hey, man, let's take a look at this grant of rights. How does this thing work? So, people have been working on this for a long, long time, Dave. This wasn't something that just was concocted in Tallahassee, Florida a couple of months ago where they said, hey, man, we need to get out of this grant of rights, and what's the deal? And why can't we get the paperwork out of Greensboro, now Charlotte? So people have been working on this for a long time. I don't think Florida State's the only school. I think at the end of the day, greed is what is running college athletics. We're seeing it not only with this lawsuit and with everything that's happened in the past, or even starting to watch it in the college football playoff, where we're getting ready to go to 12 teams, and now all of a sudden we're having arguments and discussions about, hey, let's get this thing to 14 or 16 because we can make more money. So at the end of the day, if you want the answer to a question, follow the money. So, no, I don't think Florida State's the only school. I don't even think the ACC is the only league where this is taking place. So, again, we'll see how it plays out. We're living in probably the craziest times in the history of college athletics. And quite frankly, a lot of it saddens me in the big picture, but it is what it is.
It just seems, Mark, as you said, there are other schools involved, but if North Carolina were involved, what would that do to the ACC? Because they seem to be the glue of that conference, and there's always talk of North Carolina being linked to the Big Ten. If that were to happen, that guts the conference, right?
Well, I think that if you have a mass defection, we've already seen how this works. Go ask the Pac-12, who, by the way, congratulations to them. They announced a new conference commissioner.
Right.
He's in charge of 2 teams. I don't even understand how that works, but good for them. But no, if you have a mass defection, and for argument's sake, let's just say all hell breaks loose and Florida State's gone and Clemson wants to leave and Carolina and Virginia are appealing because of the AAU stuff to the Big Ten or wherever everybody goes. I don't even know. Then all of a sudden the ACC, as you know it, is no longer as you know it. So, that's how that trickle-down effect works, and that's why all eyes are on Florida State in this lawsuit, and now that ESPN's gotten involved, and again, I'm not a lawyer. I don't even like to talk about it on the air because it just gets to be, it drive you nuts trying to figure out, connecting all the dots. It'll all work itself out one way or the other, but I don't think it's a win-win proposition like I said to you earlier. You're just asking for dirty laundry and problems for everybody at the end, and it's going to cost everybody a fortune to get to the final point, and that's unfortunate for everybody.
Mark, you live and work in a part of the country where college sports is adored more than pro sports. What is your audience? What are your neighbors telling you about college sports right now? Is it a turnoff? Is it, well, I still love it, I just may not love it as much? Is this a, hey, man, it's change, suck it up, deal, get on board with it? All right. I'm just curious, what
great question. And
you live in?
Honestly, I have it with myself, David, all the time. And I'll be honest with you, I don't like it. What I grew up with, what you grew up with, what anybody who's got any age to them grew up with, that day's over. It's not coming back. And for folks who are like, well, the good old days, I say it all the time, man, the genie's out of the bottle. And they're like, well, can we put the genie back in the bottle? I'm like, screw that. We don't even know where the bottle is. Forget the genie. Where's the bottle? It's a different universe. And quite frankly, what worries me as a fan of college sports is, do we have the really smart people, and there are a bunch of them, in a position to make a change? Or is it going to be too late? I mean, the NCAA was sound asleep. They had horrific leadership, still questionable in that department. They could have gotten in front of this and at least put some guardrails and some guidelines where it wasn't just the wild, wild west. I mean, when you've got a guy like Nick Saban, and God bless him that he wants to still be a voice in trying to straighten this out, and I'm all for him being involved in trying to do that. But when he's telling you as a retiree, it is not college football anymore, and this is the greatest coach of all time, man, if you're not paying attention to what he just said, you don't know what's going on. So is it a turnoff? I think for me it has been. And again, I'm covering this every single day. I don't like where it's going, but there's nothing I can do about it. My job's to report as opposed to try to be the news. So I'm worried about it, where it's going. I think if it gets to the point where greed gets so out of control that we only have the top 10 or 15 teams in America that are willing to pay crazy dollars just to have a football program or a basketball program, we're going to kill this thing. And I hate to be, to that end. Hopefully we can get in front of it a little bit and at least kind of guide it through where there's at least some regulations involved. But I got a real problem with college athletics where it is right now. It is. If I wanted the NFL, I'd watch the NFL. And this isn't the National Football League. And Saturdays are different than Sundays. And for folks that love college sports, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So it's unfortunate, but that is the world that we live in, David. And it has turned in the last couple of years literally 180 degrees. It really has.
Final point here in our final moments. Miller and Moulton, it's not necessarily what we want, but we're of the belief that where we are now, they're going to have to make the athlete employees. It's the only way they're going to rein in the money, get the cost controls they want. We all know when it's employer-employee, the employee doesn't have as much rights as they think they do. Do you think that the college athlete's going to end up being an employee?
If you would have asked me this question a couple of years ago, and I said, there's absolutely no way. The fact you just asked me that question in the last 20 seconds, I do think that's a possibility. And I really believe that if we get to that point, we're all in deep trouble. I mean, we have lost the sight of what a student athlete in the college experience is all about, and that is to get an education. And it's amazing to me, in the last couple of years, with all the stuff that's going on with transfer portal, name, image, and likeness, I mean, you go through the whole litany of things. How often do we ever hear anybody talking about education? The answer is you almost never hear it. In fact, I go back to what Nick Saban said this week. He said, the student athlete doesn't exist anymore. Well, that might be true in the SEC. I can assure you it's not the truth in the ACC. But in the big picture of how all of this is working, we have lost sight of what an education is all about. This has turned into nothing more than a money fest, a greed fest, and that's what worries me. And, if we can't figure that part out, David, we're going to have employees, and this is going to be the NFL light and the NBA light. And, if you still want to watch it and go, that's great. And if you don't, you'll find something to do, just like anything else, whether it be a radio show, a TV show, or college athletics. I mean, if you like it, you'll buy into it. If you don't, you'll find 1,000 things you can do with your time and your money. So, like I said, we're living in the most fascinating times in the history of college athletics, and I'm just curious to see if the smart people can get a rein on it before it's too late.
Mark, we said it 15 minutes ago, and we mean it. Thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it. All the best, continued success, and maybe we can talk again during the tournament.
Bug me anytime. I look forward to it.
Mark Packer, ACC PM, weekdays 4 o'clock on the ACC network. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Mark Packer, Packer.
Well, there was a rosy picture being painted. He seems full of optimism for college sports. Along the network, have a great weekend. We'll be back on Monday morning. In the 239, the Diamond District bonus hour is next. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You know what I randomly just thought of? There should be some sort of rule that you cannot have two schools with the same mascot in the same conference. The SEC has 3 Tigers, right?
2 Bulldogs.
2 Bulldogs and 3 Tigers. What are we doing? Come on.
Article in The Athletic about Winnipeg might have to move. There's no money.
The Jets?
Ownership sounds alarm on attendance. Not going to work over the long haul.
Well, I will say this might be how Houston gets their franchise, because it seems as if Salt Lake City is becoming the fallback for
They're
both
the
baseball
favorite for
and
Arizona.
for hockey and baseball. People now think Salt Lake City would get the A's, if not Vegas. I heard a very interesting baseball discussion the other day in which they said somebody thought, okay, the 2 expansion teams, everybody says Nashville is a foregone conclusion.
Right.
And that the other franchise will be out west. And while most people were saying Portland, there are some people that believe that this A's thing is so messy that Major League Baseball may just say, we need to make it work in Oakland and put an expansion franchise there. Now, I don't believe that, because I also think that then the Giants start doing that's in our rights. And, that's why they always said no to a team in San Jose.
Thank you, David.
Oh, that'll get some talking points in the course, won't it?
I've actually got a buddy who's got a CBS Sports hat. I keep saying I should give you this so you got the matching set, but I don't have a lot of pullovers. It got cold in here.
Who was it who wanted us to say Tallahassee in Keith Jackson's voice?
I don't know.
I did see it in there. No, Adam, I think it's an ego thing at this point. I think the owner of the A's will move the team no matter what. The last thing he will do is keep the team in Oakland. Houston really wants a hockey team, though. I find that interesting.
So yesterday, someone did, someone accurately said I-75 is a parking lot towards the end of our show. And I left the show yesterday at 10 o'clock, and 41 was a parking lot heading south. Apparently a granite truck overturned.
Oh, no.
And granite slabs all over the interstate. Those aren't easy to get up.
No, they're not.
Found that out last night at soccer. One of the dads in construction, he was the one that told me. He's like, oh.
That's a nightmare.
That's a night. And it was it was backed up for a mile. And when I pulled out of here.
Back.
Well, that could be the whole highway.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour, final hour of the show and of the week for Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. If you just missed our 8 o'clock hour, pretty good, if we got to say so ourselves. Pat Kirwan, Mark Packer, talking pro and college football, but also college sports as a whole with Mark Packer of the ACC Network. And he doesn't pull any punches, even if it would upset his employer. So, if you missed it, download it. It'll be up soon, floridasportsnetwork.com. You mentioned something during the break, and we're usually on top of all this, but we've just kind of let it float out there. This is something that we'll get to in the future. But there are some existing franchises, like we all know about the Oakland situation, the A's. We got that. There's 2 or 3 others that apparently are not good. The Arizona Diamondbacks held a presser at the beginning of spring training in which they were asked about the future of the team in Arizona. And they said, well, we're trying to make it work. But, whoa. Hold on a second. Really? And the ownership was kind of like, we need a new stadium and there's no progress on that. And not playing around. We're losing money. And they did go to the World Series last year. And they were just like, this is not a game. This is just business.
It is funny what a stadium shelf life is anymore.
Yeah. I know. The Diamondbacks came into being in 97, I think, was their first year. Because Showalter managed the Yankees in 95. They got eliminated. He got fired. I think he sat out 96 building the Diamondbacks organization, and then they opened in 97. Made the playoffs in 99. So I think, so that stadium is basically, 25/30 years old.
That's about the time that the team raises their hand and say, build me a new one or I'm leaving.
Right. The Bengals, by the way, apparently are willing to stay in their current stadium. They're just asking for $500 million, to remodel it.
That's cheap.
Well,
Hey, I'm not trying to be smart. I'm not even being flippant when I say that. It's cheaper than the $1.5 billion to $2 billion to build a new one.
Well, Mark, I'm here in Jacksonville, and their Jaguars are staying in their stadium, but the stadium refurbishing is $1 billion, and the stuff around it and the neighborhood is another $1 billion. And they're talking about the city and county will pay half, and Con will pay half, but that the stadium refurbishing is $1 billion. That's just to refurbish a 30-year-old stadium. And you're right. You can't build a football stadium nowadays for $1 billion. Can't do it.
So if the Bengals are actually willing to just have the stadium refurbished, that seems like a win for Cincinnati. And I'm not, that's just that seems to be the cost of doing business. And I know there's a lot of people listening right now. We shouldn't be paying for stadiums. I agree. We shouldn't, but we are, and that's not going to change.
This is kind of like the college discussions we've been having. Do any of us like the musical chairs of schools and conferences? No. We both said it yesterday. I desperately wish we could go back 15 years, put everybody back where they were, and try. And I'm willing to deal with the modern issues. I would just love to put the schools back in the conferences where they were.
Right. We're not trying to say NIL go away.
No.
We're not even, as much as I don't like the portal and how unseemly that is, we're not even saying that should go away.
Nope.
All Miller and Moulton are saying is, would be nice to have the Pac-10
12 again. Yeah, that'd be nice. And Oklahoma, Texas in the Big 12. Yes. Right. And maybe figure out a way that the Big East should have kept itself together and played football. Now upon further review. But anyway, obviously but there's 2 hockey teams that may not be staying where they are. The one everybody's known about for years. Everybody thinks it's maybe Bettman's biggest mark on his commissionership. The reason there's a team in Arizona, Gary Bettman. The reason there's still a team in Arizona, Gary Bettman. And even Bettman has apparently said to the ownership of the Arizona Coyotes, you got till the Stanley Cup Finals. Find a place where you're going to play and get a stadium deal and what have you, or else at this point
they shouldn't have the team, David. They should. No. They don't deserve the team. The team's playing in Tempe at Arizona State's college hockey arena, and they can't sell it out. It's 5,000 seats, and they can't sell it out. It's the most intimate setting in pro sports, maybe in the history of pro sports. You went to a game there.
I did.
I mean, it's a smaller venue than Hertz Arena.
Oh, absolutely. By nearly 2,500 seats. It's very intimate. I mean, I sat third row in the corner, walked up, bought a ticket to the Flyers. Third row in the corner. I mean, it was awesome. But it's ridiculous that that's, where an NHL team is. Awesome for me. In town for an Arizona Cardinals game, could just drive on over and get an NHL game. So we know about the Coyotes, and apparently even the commissioner has said, you got about 90 to 150 days. And if you don't have a solid plan in place with a neighborhood giving you a thumbs up, we're going to have to relocate you. And we'll determine where and probably force you to sell the team to where we're relocating. And it looks as if Salt Lake City has moved ahead of Houston. Because Houston met with Bettman like 3 years ago about Arizona. Like, hey, we'll take them. And obviously, you look at market size. I mean, Houston's a top 10 market in the country. I mean, threatening to be a top 5 market in the country.
Phoenix isn't that far away from it either.
Well, exactly. It's like Houston's
part of that.
Right. Houston's 6. I think Phoenix is 8 or vice versa. And that's been Bettman's argument all along. It's why I want a team here. Look at the market size. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. They don't want the team. But you told me something during the break I hadn't heard.
Well, it just came out. Chris Johnston penned an article on The Athletic talking about Mark Chipman, who is the chairman of the Winnipeg Jets. And the chairman of the Winnipeg Jets, whose season ticket fan base has gone from 13,000 to under 9,500 in just 3 years, said, I would be honest with you if I didn't say we have to get back to 13,000. This place we find ourselves right now is not going to work over the long haul. It just isn't. Not mincing words. Chairman says we got to get back to 13,000 seats. They've lost 27% of their season ticket base in 3 years. I worked for a hockey team that went through a season, was losing 20% every year and renewing it. What the Everblades have done in the last 7 years is remarkable.
Awesome.
Chris Palin needs to be commended for the job he's done marketing that team. Commended for in Hoffman coming in and buying the arena and refurbishing the arena. The place is night and day from when I left there. And they're doing a great job. That's not the norm for teams. When tickets start to decline, they continue to decline.
Now, granted, the Blades are very successful. People do like a winner. But, that's as much entertainment and the experience with your friends and family as it is, the final score on the scoreboard. But they do a great job at all of it. They've earned everything that comes their way, that organization, from top to bottom. Tough to do it any better than they do it. But Mark, I went to one of the last Winnipeg Jets games in Winnipeg when it looked like they were never going to get a team again. It was late winter of 95, heading into the spring of 95. And they're losing the Jets. And I drove up from Fargo. It was straight up I-29. It was like a 3.5 hour drive. And I'm like, I got to go. I mean, this is history here. Scout my way in and what have you, sat upstairs, intimate arena, only held like 14,000. And, the people were crying. It was very sad. And, the thought was, well, they're never going to get a team again. And this is actually to Bettman's credit. I mean, I do laugh when Canada gets all over Bettman. I'm like, has there been a bigger proponent of the NHL in Canada than Gary Bettman? I mean, for good, he got you Winnipeg back again. He's made sure that the league finances the dollar difference between the two countries. He's been a big proponent of Ottawa when the franchise has been run into the ground multiple times. Trust me, hockey fans got their issues with Bettman, but Canadian hockey fans should get in line, man. Please. But, I mean, so Arizona and Winnipeg, both Western Conference teams, right?
Yes.
So Salt Lake and Houston?
Yes. I think Portland would be raising their hand trying to get something, but I think they're a distant third to those two cities.
Well, apparently there's an interesting little battle going on between Portland and Salt Lake for expansion teams in two sports, baseball and hockey. I don't know if this will now make the Blazers and the Jazz a hell of a rivalry, but apparently the two cities are kind of battling, not even behind the scenes anymore. Baseball is going to expand. We all know that. Once the Rays and A's situations get fully resolved, once shovels are going into the ground, then they're going to have two expansion teams. Nashville is a foregone conclusion. What's a bigger foregone conclusion? The NBA is going to expand to Vegas or baseball is going to Nashville?
Push, believe it or not. I mean, it would be hard to mince that one, David, because they seem both like slam dunks or home runs, depending on how you look at it.
And most people think the other expansion franchise in the NBA is a given also, that it'll be Seattle. But, okay, if we have Nashville in the National League or East, we got to have a team out West for baseball expansion. And apparently it's going to come down to Salt Lake or Portland unless the A's end up in Salt Lake. Which apparently is now the new fallback city if this Vegas thing doesn't work out.
And Vegas, as you now well know, really doesn't care if it works out or not. No. In fact, truth be told, they'd rather it didn't work out. At least the mayor would be she'd be fine with that. Not a baseball fan. She'd rather go to a Golden Knights game, a Raiders game, or have an NBA All-Star game.
Mark, I think pro franchises just want to get in the college football game a realignment.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District. Take a stroll in the mall, hop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail
Mark
East.
Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Have breakfast with them, right? Love you. I'll do a little FGCU here. Or?
Yeah. Did they lose all three at TCU? Did they lose Sunday too in baseball?
They did. And then Indiana State won their conference last year. I mean, this is as tough an opening schedule as I've seen the baseball team have.
So they have Indiana State at home this weekend?
Who do they have at home?
You said they have Indiana State.
No, well, they played them at Braves Park on Tuesday or Wednesday and lost 5-2.
Oh, okay.
These Costco muffins are just too big.
What?
It's too much.
A muffin is too big?
Have you seen the Costco muffins?
I don't care. I don't know if you can have a muffin that's too big.
Oh, you can. And they are Costco muffins. Way too big. Although it's more like cake because it's double chocolate is the one that I have. Very healthy. Come to the Naples Tiki Bar and try our famous pulled pork. Gets me every time. I love it.
Boy, ESPN is convinced that Mike Evans is going to be a Chief next year.
I don't see it.
How they can't even.
Well, I just think that they will prioritize their money elsewhere. Like, I think, first off, they're going to do a deal with Chris Jones. They're going to franchise the cornerback. But I think that, yes, I think they'll get a receiver. But I don't. Will they really go that high end?
No, they'll get like DJ Chark. I think he's a free agent, isn't he?
I can't keep track.
They like Rashee Rice.
They should.
They just need him to develop a little bit more. So
he was a rookie, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he'll be good.
But, Gabe Davis is available. I mean, T. Higgins is probably going to be available, although they're talking about tagging him. I just think that they'll try to find a.
FGCU got out rebounded 2-1 last night.
Oh, I know. Out rebounded by 16.
Yeah.
They hit
nearly 2-1.
They hit 4 threes and got out rebounded by 16. I mean, you look at the stat sheet, it's remarkable they had a 1-point lead with 6 minutes to go.
Well, they had come way back to do it because they were getting pounded the whole game, had a nice run to get the lead, and then I thought maybe we had a shot at that point.
By the way, baseball team's home for 3 against Bethune.
Okay.
They go to Miami the middle of next week. Then they host Xavier for 3. Then they're at Florida State for 2.
Man, my kid's all into ECU baseball, but the number of good
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when, along with some final thoughts and picks, went 1-1 yesterday. We tried to throw in a local pick. We went FGCU.
Stupid idea.
Damn Eagles. We said they're inconsistent. Tough to figure out, but this is where too much information. I had seen Kennesaw State the week before, and I said, they're not very good. FGCU is going to beat them, and they're only laying 2.5. Yeah, they lost.
What I'm trying to figure out is how the hell this team beat Florida Atlantic. I watched last night. I watched a good chunk of that game against Kennesaw State. It was bad basketball. It was ugly. They didn't rebound worth a damn. Rebounding's effort to me. And when you get out rebounded by 16 in a game.
That's what I was going to point out. Now, Kennesaw State is a good rebounding team. They are. All right. I just,
okay.
But not plus
20.
I understand. 41-25. Right. Plus 16 is ridiculous. Right. Well, fortunately, FGCU combated that by hitting a bunch of threes. Oh, wait, they went 4 for 19. So, yeah, not a good day at the office. And unfortunately, their last day at the home office. I mean, tomorrow's it. That's it. And they're not going to play any home ASUN playoff games. I mean, they needed to win out, I think, to have a shot at getting as high up as the 4 seed. I mean, now, quite frankly, you got to worry about them getting in.
David, they're at home against Queens College, which we talked about. They should win that game.
They should. Queens had not won a road game all year. Shocked Stetson in DeLand last night. Stetson was in second place, a game out of first, and they own the tiebreaker against the first place team. This is the best regular season Stetson's had in 30 years, and Queens won. As shocking a result as we've seen in the ASUN this year, quite frankly. Now
and then they go to North Florida and
otherwise.
Jacksonville.
Right, the Jacksonville road trip.
They could lose 20 games this year if they don't. Let's just say they beat Queens. They got to get a road win to assure themselves of not losing 20 games this year. They were picked to finish third in the conference.
All right, second by, I think, media, third by the coaches, or vice versa. Yes. And right now, they are 9th. They finished 10th last year. Lost to Queens in the play-in. Right now, they would face Central Arkansas in a play-in. They would do so at Eastern Kentucky. The winner of that game would then play the top-seeded Eastern Kentucky. I think they're the Colonels the next night. Now, I got to tell you, to me, the ASUN is down this year. Like Fly's last team 2 years ago, that one was the 4th or 5th best team in the league 2 years ago. They won 22 games. And they got knocked out in the quarterfinals by the team that ended up winning it. That team, Mark, would win the ASUN this year. The team that 2 years ago was the,
Or would
depending,
they still fire Fly if they won? Oh, sorry.
but that team would win the A-Sun this year.
22 games, huh?
Yeah, it's an unusual. Well, the boosters didn't want them anymore. I mean, once again, it's all about money. And so the A-Sun's down this year, which the reason I point that out is I actually think anybody can steal the A-Sun bid. That's my point. Like, I've seen Eastern Kentucky. All right. They're solid. They're good. They got a post. They're an experienced team that's played together a few years. They got a good transfer. I mean, they're a solid team. They are. 2 years ago, that Eastern Kentucky team would have been the 5th or 6th best team in the A-Sun. And they're the best team this year. That's all I'm saying. That this bid can be stolen with a hot week. And just about every team here, I mean, we've seen FGCU on their best day. They beat FAU.
Right, but they've been unable to put best days back to, I mean, to think that this FGCU team could win 3 or 4 games in a row, it's laughable right now, David. I'm sorry.
But then again, I mean, you and I firsthand, we had that 7-hour drive to Macon. We were doing FGCU in their first ever.
Man, did we solve some problems on that drive.
Yeah, we solved healthcare, college football realignment. All right. Just
the national debt. I mean, come on. There was a lot of issues. 7 hours, Miller and Moulton alone in a car. We took on a lot of issues.
Future of FGCU athletics. I mean, we had the whole thing settled. I think we were to Valdosta. I don't know what we talked about between Valdosta and Macon. But anyway. But remember, Mark, that team, that was Andy Enfield's first year. They entered the A-Sun tournament on a 4-game losing streak. They were 3 games below 500. And their draw as the 6th seed was 3 20-win teams. The 3 seeded won 20 games, the 2 seeded won 22, and the top seed was Belmont, and they had won 24, I think. And you and I both laughed. We said, well, we're going to do 1 men's game, but we'll do 3 women's.
It was the reason I did play-by-play for the men. That was one of the things we determined. The women, we were pretty damn sure were going to win the A-Sun title. And I said, we're talking about who's going to do play-by-play, who's going to be the analyst. I said, David, why don't you do the women? Because you deserve to say they're going to the tournament. You deserve to be able to utter those words. And here we are with the men getting ready for a final. And I'm going, I said, David, do you want to do play-by-play?
Absolutely not. And here's the funny thing. It was a combination of you don't steal another guy's gig, number one. And number two, I'm a superstitious sports fan. I looked right at him. I said, we ain't changing a thing. We're sitting on the same sides of the equipment. We're using the same headsets. I'll rewash this. I'll go to a laundromat and rewash this outfit if you want me to. We ain't changing a thing, buddy. They were losing games when I was calling them. They're 2-0 with you. And then they were up at the half. Looked at one another. We're like, is this happening? But that's what I'm talking about, though.
But now they got to win 4
I
because there's going to be a play-in game too.
I understand that. But we've seen what can happen firsthand, and we know it happens all the time. I mean, look at Georgetown. What was it, 3 years ago when they stole the Big East title? Won 4 games in a week at Madison Square Garden. They have won 4 league games in 3 years. But they had an unconscious week, and they hadn't done it leading up to it, and haven't done it since. I'm just telling you, the A-Sun can be stolen this year by anybody.
I hope so. I'd love to see him go on a little run. But it seems highly unlikely, as inconsistent as they've played this year. They have been a tremendous disappointment. We don't talk a ton of FGCU. I'm rooting for them. I've watched a lot of games. I've got ESPN Plus for that. One of the reasons I have it. But last night, I mean, not because we lost $5. Who gives a damn? One, I'm so happy with the fact that I can put this little money on a game and actually find enjoyment in having this little action on a game, because I used to have to have a lot more action to find enjoyment. But
how awesome would it be if they were really good and we could just talk about them in the bonus hour every single day?
I would love it.
Well, we did it for 5 to 7 years.
When they were really good.
Yeah. When they were Dunk City.
Well, they had 6 straight 20-win seasons. But first things first, and I'm being very serious when I say this, beat Queens because you may need that just to get in the ASUN playoffs.
Well, and they can beat Jacksonville because they're not very good either. I know it's a road game, but Jacksonville's lousy.
Well, they're not good except that they're 10-1 at home. And I'm just saying it, going on the road, when you've won 3 road games all year, which is FGCU's road record, it's tough to count on winning road games. So get the home win tomorrow against Queens, put it away. You may really need that win just to get in. Because, Mark, it's not out of the question that FGCU's regular season finale is going to be a play-in for both teams. That's what last night's loss to FGCU did. It got them much closer to being out than to being in a favorable spot. The standings now are getting a little tricky. So tomorrow, last home game for the FGCU men, Miller and Moulton.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commission and educational presentation, and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So what are they going to do if they want to fire Chambers? Where are they going to get the money for that?
Well, first off, I don't think timeline-wise it's going to work this year.
The new AD's coming in, right?
Well, but I don't think, like, the last I heard last week, they were down to 9. The search firm had narrowed it down to 9 people. So, I don't think they're going to get somebody hired till mid-March at the earliest. I don't know if that person's going to be able to start before May 1st or June 1st. So would you come in at that time of year?
You can't.
And blow out a coach?
You can't.
No, and a coach with 3 years left on his contract.
Right. Well, someone just said FGCU, texted the FGCU's good. I said, I don't know if they can afford it.
I don't think so. I think that it will work out where next year, though, will be a put up or shut up year. The other thing is, you can't blame next year on Fly, because listen.
How's he blaming this year on Fly?
Well, you could make the case that still I'm playing with Fly's guys.
He doesn't play them.
Okay, I'm just saying. But like last year, Fly left them 4 starters. A JUCO All-American was walking in the door, and the all-conference and the all-conference guard from Stetson was walking in the door, and 2 key reserves. They started 13-4 for a reason. Okay, but now the all-conference kid from Stetson got hurt and flamed out. The JUCO All-American hasn't materialized, for one reason or another. One of the 4 starters when they got rid of Fly transferred. Okay, the big fella, Samuels. But he's not, Dakota, Weir, like Zach Anderson developed. But I think Franco Miller's eligibility's up. I mean, basically, it will truly be Chambers' team next year. Largy's gone after this year. I mean, there's very few Fly guys left. Never mind who's going to get up and leave in the portal. So next year's team will truly be, there will be no excuses next year. It's year 3 of your program. It's on you.
I really don't understand how they're so bad.
I don't either.
Good coach.
I don't either. I thought it was a mistake to get rid of Fly. Most people disagree with me, but I definitely didn't. And I told Ken this to his face. I said, you're going to blow up the recruiting pipeline that's been established. This is a Florida-Georgia program, and it's a program that is a great transfer destination. I go, I'm telling you, you're going to blow that up with this hire. There are many other people you could hire that could keep what's been established in place. This guy's all Pennsylvania, all Philadelphia. All right. He's getting destroyed on the street in Florida. FGCU's become a 4-letter word in the state of Florida. They've neglected the AAU scene and the high school scene.
Which has become one of the best states in the country for AAU basketball. I mean, we are the 3rd most populous state. There's a reason.
Yeah. That's
it's why the moment Georgia decides that they want to have a basketball program, they want to put any money into that program.
Exactly.
It's instantly top 15 because the players are all there in Atlanta. They're just not spending money on it.
Exactly. And that to me is the biggest shame of what's happened in the last 2 years. Never mind finishing 10th and wherever they're going to finish in the standings. It's the fact that their whole recruiting pipeline, a 12-year body of work got destroyed with this hire. That to me is the shame. Now, it's still a place where people want to go to, though. It is. I got people in Florida telling me, I wanted to go there, but, okay. I mean, I think it can be repaired, but it's not going to get repaired by this regime. So, supposedly he's got another good kid coming in. I hope it works. I don't want them to fail. But I don't like where the program is.
Boy, there's no one there last night either. And for what I know that she's gone, but they were wearing red in the crowd last night.
Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. 16 until we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Well, I hope you got some meat on the bone today. It's been, lately you've been like, I don't have much. I hope you got
February's a boring month in the history of sports in the world. That's all I'm saying. Need to get to March.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Battle of the Alamo today in 1836. That one didn't work out well.
That's one way to put it.
1904, the U.S. acquires control of the Panama Canal.
That worked out well.
That one worked out well. 1940, Disney's Pinocchio is released.
And This Land Is Your Land was released by Woody Guthrie.
1945, the raising of the flag on Iwo Jima.
Boy, what a picture, huh?
Yep. Today in 1954, the first mass inoculation against polio in Pennsylvania.
And it worked so well that 60 years later, some people said, I don't think we should keep doing this.
Petty wins Daytona today in 64. He led 184 of the 200 laps. It's kind of a dominant win.
I'm surprised they didn't go to stage racing immediately after that.
Eric Heiden would win his 5th gold medal today in 1980, winning the 10,000, becoming the only Winter Olympian to win 5 gold medals in a single game.
Was that the longest of his races?
Yes.
Right. I mean,
So he
think
won
about
the
it.
500, the 1,000, the 1,500, I think, the 5,000 and the 10,000.
Think about that. You're good enough to win the 500.
Right.
And the 10,000 meters. Ridiculous.
Today in 1983, the New Jersey Generals signed Herschel Walker.
Herschel wanted to rescind it and go back to Georgia. And unfortunately, he signed the contract. His days in college were done.
What's Herschel been up to the last few years?
Right. Today in 1985, the infamous chair was tossed by one Robert Montgomery Knight.
Ah.
Iconic.
Yes. Rocky IV, not so much.
Right. Bobby Knight throwing the chair. Iconic.
Eminem releases the Slim Shady LP today in 1999. Junior wins his 2nd Daytona in 2014. And it was 3 years ago today that Tiger got in the car crash.
And thankfully he survived it. And didn't hurt anyone else.
Exactly. Fred Bolitnikov's 81. Ed Too Tall Jones is 73. Bobby Bonilla is 61. Golfer Steve Stricker is 57. And Andrew Wiggins is 29. What did I miss, David?
Well, big controversy today, Mark, in 1978. We had a tie at the Grammys for Best Song. Barbra Streisand's theme from A Star Is Born.
Evergreen.
And Debbie Boone's You Light Up My Life.
Wow.
Never heard either one.
Well,
have you heard of either singer?
Yeah. Well, not Debbie Boone.
Okay,
I've
fair
heard
enough.
Barbra Streisand.
All right.
Course.
And technically it was not Debbie Boone's Grammy because it's a songwriting award and she didn't write it. She just sung it. Okay. But that's how people know it. Debbie Boone's the one who sang it. So anyway, there you go. Remember, late 70s, we're doing a lot of drugs. So keep that in mind when you're wondering, really? Song of the, yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Lot going on.
Pretty vanilla songs, though, but that movie was a monster.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Indiana for the good. Where in Vermilion County, there was a Facebook post of a deer that had a plastic container stuck on his head. 12 days later, they were able to get the deer, rescue the deer, and get the plastic container off of the deer's head.
Good.
Yeah. For the bad, we go to Akron, Ohio, where an attempted robbery had gone wrong. 5:30 p.m., a 6-foot-tall white male walked into the Save-A-Lot grocery store, approached the counter to buy something, wearing a mask and a black hooded sweatshirt. He told the clerk he had a gun and threatened to shoot the clerk while demanding money from the register. The clerk sounded the alarm. The suspect ran out of the store without any money and left without collecting his change from his purchase. So he robbed the store and gave them money.
Can't fix stupid.
Finally, the ugly. We go to New Jersey, where David Węgierowski did a little shoplifting at Walmart.
Okay.
Then, as police were trying to pull him over to arrest him, he took the police on a little drive, trying to elude the police. When he was finally pulled over, he was drunk, had an open container of alcohol in the vehicle, And to top everything off, the shoplifter was a Roman Catholic priest.
Oh.
Always in the news for the wrong reasons.
He stole less than $50 worth of ice cream containers and oven mitts before leaving the store
Dude,
without paying.
What?
He had the munchies. He was drunk. He wanted some ice cream.
Oven mitts.
Oven mitts I can't explain.
That's so you can hold it without getting your hands cold?
There are so many bad jokes that I could go to right now, but I'm just going to leave all of them aside. Let you do them on your own, in your vehicle, or at your desk at work, or wherever you may be. And just say simply that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, February the 23rd, 2024.
Midwest representing today, by the way. Indiana and Ohio.
So I don't think it makes the good, bad, and ugly. But before we get to our games, did you hear about the 13-foot great white that washed ashore in Navarre, which is in the Panhandle?
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I know there's a great white just made it past of Southwest Florida because they track these things and they can, you can figure out where they are.
Mm-hmm. And they think the great white's pregnant.
Huh.
Yeah. Yep.
So what are they going to do? They're going to do the jaws, cut it open?
Is that a real C section?
Wow.
Oh, it is Friday.
I think they brought in like a Marine Institute. I actually think they're trying to, do something with the shark. But anyway, okay. Well, I won't mention that anymore. Hey, how about the games?
How about the games?
NBA tonight, 10 games. Heat are in New Orleans, first game post-break for both teams. Miami getting 3.5. Pelicans been playing pretty well, actually.
Really well.
Don't know how teams are going to respond first game after the break, but 8 o'clock tonight, Heat, Pelicans, Miami getting 3.5. The ESPN double dip, 7:30 and 10 o'clock. Cleveland and Philly early. Milwaukee, Minnesota late. Let's see who Doc Rivers blames this loss on. I mean, who's blaming their team more, Patino or Rivers?
Well, Doc is more playing the victim. It's weird. He's like, it sounds like he didn't even want the job the way he's talking about it.
By the way, if you don't want the job, you say
Don't take it. It was really easy.
Oh, I know. That's
so,
what I'm saying. He's saying one thing and his
not only that,
louder than his words.
He sounds like he took over the Charlotte Hornets when he took over the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, right. Like, dude, you have the Greek Freak and Dame Lillard. Figure it out.
And they're all under contract, by the way. They can't go anywhere for like this year and the next 3. You know the length of your contract. So 7:30 and 10 o'clock, the ESPN double dip. There's only like 3 hockey games tonight. And I don't even know if any of them are really any good.
Wild at Edmonton, probably your best game at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Connor Bedard's playing because the Blackhawks are in action, so that's always worth watching. But no, not really.
Friday night is never a good men's college basketball night. There's not a single ranked team playing. I will say, though, Mark, here in Jacksonville, it's the River City Rumble, baby. Okay. Fire marshals be damned because it's packed house and then some when North Florida and JU get it on. It's on like Donkey Kong, baby. All right. Here's the deal, because we don't have lines out on any of the games over the weekend.
And there's nothing I want to play tonight for the record. There's not a game worth playing.
No, believe it or not, if I would play anything tonight, I'd play the Pelicans and lay the 3.5 against the Heat.
Tomorrow, we got games to play. We got Duke at Wake Forest. We got
Folks,
BYU at Kansas State.
But we don't know the lines. The lines don't come out till like tonight, tomorrow morning.
We got South Carolina at Ole Miss. We got North Carolina at Virginia.
Virginia.
Are these fitting our criteria?
We don't know the spread yet. Texas Tech at UCF. I mean, there literally are 5 games with ranked teams on the road. Auburn at Georgia, 6.
Okay. However, there's a game I want to play, which doesn't fit our criteria. So you guys can play whatever game you want. All right. But there's a game 7 o'clock tomorrow night. 10-win Texas Southern is at 0-26 Mississippi Valley State.
And you want to take Mississippi Valley State, don't you?
I don't know. I don't know.
What do you mean? There's a game I want to play.
Right. And then
but you don't know who you want to take.
I actually think I want to bet Texas Southern. I do. How can you bet? Although we knew when Detroit Mercy was going to win. We circled that one 2 weeks out because they were playing. Ooey Pooey was terrible. They had only won 6 games themselves. See, Texas Southern's not terrible. That's the problem. Texas Southern's 8-5 in league. Mississippi Valley State's 0-13. Ooey Pooey was terrible. So we bet Detroit Mercy and they won.
UDM was actually favored too. I mean,
they were.
It was to the point where we were like, why are they favorites?
But I'm just saying, whatever the Texas Southern Mississippi Valley State line is tomorrow night, Mississippi Valley State, the last winless team in men's college basketball, 0-26. I want to bet Texas Southern. It's game 2 of a 3-game homestand, by the way, for Mississippi Valley.
You may have a problem if.
Yes, there's no doubt. If you're betting Texas Southern Mississippi Valley State blind, you have a problem. Absolutely. But I'm betting against the Delta Devils.
I mean, we even have Houston at Baylor tomorrow, where I don't know who will be favored in that game. This is going to be this is the time of year where college basketball
Houston
heats up.
At Baylor?
Yeah.
I'm going to guess that's going to be like a seriously close to a pick 'em. Like
I think you're probably right.
Spread maybe.
And South Florida on Sunday, a big game. SMU comes to town.
Mm-hmm.
SMU's good.
Although FAU just beat them by 10. I know. Place will be packed.
I like USF. Keep it rolling.
Hopefully they can keep it rolling.
We're going to bet FGCU tomorrow. It'll probably be a small line. They really going to lose 2 in a row at home? It's our home finale.
We might be risking half the bankroll tomorrow, David. Could be a big day.
Oh, we have that many games we're going to bet, aren't we?
I saw 8 already that fit the criteria.
Well, all right. I want to bet Texas Southern and FGCU tomorrow.
So there you have it. Miller and Moulton are taking Friday night off, but we are going heavy. I will post everything on X that we are betting tomorrow.
We are going ham.
If you use the Hard Rock app, the Heat to win tonight is boosted to plus 155. I will be taking that. Let's go Heat.
Look at that. Okay.
Of course, the frustrating thing with the Heat this season is you never know who's playing and when. Never.
I believe you just said the Heat. I believe you meant to say the NBA.
Touche. That's a good point.
Have a terrific weekend, everyone. Should be a good college basketball weekend.
Micah Ruzioni, 8 o'clock Monday.
As long as AT&T doesn't go down between now and then.
Or the Russians. We're blaming it on one or the other.
In case you're just joining us, Micah Ruzioni and communicating with David yesterday did not blame AT&T, blamed the Russians.
Right. The Soviets. They didn't want me talking smack about them all damn day, is what he said. Have a great weekend.
The law firm of Michael F.